Day four. Here we are, Blue Jays. Hello. Are you partying hard? Well, for those who are not aware, it's 7 in the morning our time. We just got up. We did a big party yesterday too. Blue Jays, what has happened in the last however many hours since we were partying? Oh, Blue Jays, we're seeing news here that some people can't hear you. I guess no sound from you. It says. Can everybody hear me? I guess. Yeah. No sound from you, Blue Jays. I guess having a quiet morning. Yeah, and you were really on a roll there. For those who aren't aware, Blue Jays, it was like I have a dream speech from Martin Luther King. It was out of control. I was feeling emotional and inspired. Couldn't even think, but I can hear Blue Jays great. Uh, yeah, I can hear you, but the stream says they can't hear you. Can you try it again? Can you speak a little bit more? I hear you still, but I don't think the stream can hear you. Maybe not. Yeah, I wonder if there's. I remember one time. Remember the most recent EOS radio? I came on and you couldn't hear me at first. Well, maybe sounds different though. Let's see what happens. Go ahead and keep talking. Go ahead and see what it says. Strange. Okay. Sure. Keep off. Okay. Well, we have EOSYS coming in, guys, in South Korea. So EOSYS, we actually had them on yesterday as well. We'll see what they say about what's been happening. They can give us an update and let us know what we should expect going forward here, since the Blue Jays and I just got up. So yeah, EOSYS. So EOSYS is based in South Korea, and they may be best known right now for. They might be known for their tower that they recently announced, as well as they have a DEX, which is a decentralized exchange, and they also have. What are they about? Well, we'll hear more about that from them in a moment here, but they have so many projects going on at once, and the tower is just sort of the most recognizable one that we've seen. And so they're coming right up. And as I mentioned before, to me, South Korea is just going to be a hub for blockchain innovation going forward. It's really going to be a special place, I think, when it comes to all the projects that are being developed there and everything that we might see. Should be impressive in the next few years. Blue Jays, there you are.
Hey, are you guys able to hear me now?
Anybody here, Blue Jays? If he sounds great in the chat, make sure to let him know. He needs the support. Go ahead and keep talking, Blue Jays. See if
So I'm off. Maybe Orchid will be able to hear me. Oh, okay, good. We're getting a yes.
Very nice. Blue Jays, the technical wizard over there.
Yeah, it's called plug in and plug out.
Plug. Here we go. EOSYS. Hi, Orchid.
Hey, Kevin and Blue Jays.
Hi, Orchid.
And it looks like we have a new guest as well.
Yeah, there's Chris here, my friend.
Hi, Chris.
Oh, hey, Chris.
Hi, Chris. I'm Chris, and I'm the head of business development at EOSIS.
Hey, Chris. Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
We'd love to learn more about you. Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, I'm the head of business development at EOSIS, and mainly I'm focusing on building EOSIS global presence, and especially in China these days, and to prosper and invigorate the EOS ecosystem, and mainly in China.
And so you're connecting South Korea with China with efforts to build on EOS?
Yeah, right. Because there always exists a sort of language barrier between China and Korea, and as well as other different countries. but EOS is a globalized blockchain, so we want to resolve this kind of problem. So actually, we are striving to resolve this kind of problem. And for example, about 2 days ago, we just announced the cooperation with EOS Gravity, which is one of the biggest Chinese EOS community. You may know them. Mm-hmm. And we are going to translate a bunch of diverse and fresh news on their EOS ecosystem and spread them out on in Korean and Chinese community to let them know much better about the other side.
That's great. Yeah, I think we briefly heard about that. Myra from EOS Gravity was on last night for us.
Yeah.
10 hours ago, but she briefly said, "Yeah, we're reaching out more, working more with EOSYS, and that's cool." So it's a formal partnership, huh?
Yes, sort of.
Very nice. I think that's what a lot of us have been thinking about the last however many months as we all try to work together. It's like, hey, how do we reach out more? How do we communicate better? What are some of your tips? What have you found that works so far?
Right.
Do you have any, in terms of forming partnerships, do you reach out to them first and say, hey, we would love to do like a translation, or do you guys have some kind of...
Yes, actually, I reached out to them first, and actually they also said it would be a really wonderful thing to bridge the gap between China and Korea. And also there will be a lot of much more things that we can do in terms of cooperation. So we decided to do this. Do this thing together.
What are one of the things that you guys have already started working on? Like, how does that communication barrier get broken?
Actually, we just announced 2 days ago. So now we are translating each other's a brief introduction as well as their roadmap. So now we are translating, and we are gonna announce them within the next 1 or 2 days, maybe. And this is the start. And since then, we are going to translate, and we are also going to make some very fresh and very diversified news on Chinese and Korean EOS ecosystem, and translate and spread them out like that.
Very cool.
Can you describe what you see the difference between when I was over there in South Korea a couple weeks ago? I loved it, had a great time, and my impression is that the entire Asian continent seems very passionate about EOS and blockchain. And I came back and told Bluejays right away. I said, I think the central hub of blockchain will be in Asia going forward. Silicon Valley's days are numbered. That's what I was telling him. So
Kevin said he wanted to go down there and probably spend the rest of his life there.
Well, then I had to reach back. I mean, I haven't told my girlfriend that.
Is it true, Kevin?
I can't speak too soon. I want to be in the middle of the action, though. You know me. So.
Okay.
What do you guys think? I mean, it seems like the investment level is just very high, the passion for developing, and you guys just take it very seriously. Can you talk about that, what you see in the future for EOS in South Korea and China?
Okay, as for Chinese market, in the first place, I'm a Korean, so maybe the thing that I know about Chinese market, maybe not that much as the Chinese people know about it. But from the perspective of foreigner, I think the Chinese blockchain industry, including EOS, is very advanced, and they actually have made a non-trivial contribution to EOS ecosystem. And though they know a lot about EOS, and they are very proactive, and now they are very smart. So I think there are many things that we can learn from them. And as for Korean market, actually now these days a lot of Korean people are also interested in blockchain, and especially in EOS. But still, there are some people that don't understand the value and the vision that EOS proposes. So we just want to let them know much better about EOS and what kind of vision and what kind of value EOS proposes, and let them join in EOS ecosystem. So I think both Chinese market and Korean market, they are very active, and they are very smart.
Yeah. So go ahead there, Bluejays.
Yeah, I was going to ask. So we know that South Korea particularly, has a lot of adoption of blockchain. Why is that?
You mean adoption?
Yeah.
What do you mean? I didn't understand it.
It seems I read somewhere that you guys adopt blockchain a lot more than other nations do. Why is do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. what I think here is that actually Korean blockchain market has been thinking to adopt blockchain for like a few years ago, when the Bitcoin actually they say the kimchi premium, right? So the interest of blockchain, Korean people's interest on the blockchain is really huge, but that doesn't really stay on the price itself, but on the actual adoption of it. But I don't exactly know the reason behind it, but I think we are really eager to make some innovations about that. That's what I think.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I have to Orchid. It says 82. It says 29 degrees Celsius on your thermostat back there. I think that's really warm there. You're keeping that party popping.
Actually, it's the summer here. Heat is really crazy. I think it's global warming thing, and I don't personally like it, but it's how it is Korea these days. It's getting too heat. Like the enthusiasm here, the heat. It's all the same. Yeah,
it's because of EOS launch, isn't it?
Maybe maybe the weather gets so crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
And what have you guys seen this weekend? I mean, what's the latest you know about the launch? What's been happening? And go ahead, give us an update.
Yeah, I think the community is about to go on to the boot process right now, because they've been really working on the validation of snapshots. Yeah, and I think it's gonna happen in about 2 hours.
Whoa. Okay.
When the Alex from EOS Canada starts to talk, I guess, the community will move as following his leadership.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're preparing for it. Yeah.
And can you describe how the process will look as you know it? So he will talk.
Yeah, there would be a boot node, and what I heard is it's going to be anonymously chosen, and we would not know who that boot node really is. And then there would be ABPs linking to that, and that there's going to be one ABP who's going to making blocks for the first steps, and then many nodes will be syncing to that chain. So basically, it's going to be a step-by-step process to syncing the networking. Every node is going to be linking to each other, and if that turns out to be successful, then another validation process would go on. And then that's not what I know for now.
One step I do know that still has to be done is the constitution has to be uploaded, the ABI and the Ricardian contracts.
Yeah, right. So a few leaders now is working on the constitution, and I think I heard they're about to be complete right now. Yeah. So
I saw a lot of action in the EOSGA channel last night. Yeah. Even Thomas Cox was up late.
Yeah,
and Sam. Yeah.
And the governance room was like, so, the arguments were really
less.
There were a lot of arguments like for 2 or 3 days. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean so the arguing about governance has been going on for months and months too. We can confirm before that. Bluejays and I have seen a lot of that in the channel. But what's nice though is that finally, it's crunch time, so we have to arrive at some kind of a consent. So let's go ahead and do it.
Yeah, right.
No time for arguing.
No. What are you guys most excited? Looking forward, and I think we've asked Orchid this before, but it's always fun to hear. In terms of when EOS when it's up, right? When this weekend is over, and we on to the next steps. What are the first few things that you guys think are just exciting about EOS?
I think.
Chris, you go.
Okay. So maybe within the next few weeks or within the next few months, first of all, the security would be the priority. So many block producers would keep their eyes on the whole network security. And because I'm in charge of business development, so I'm also gonna do a lot of business stuff to bridge the gap between China, Korea, America, all these kind of different countries, and to let much more people know about EOS and let them vote. And because a lot of people have EOS, but actually they don't know how to vote, or even though they know how to vote, but it's very complicated. So we are gonna make some instructions, like voting instructions, to let much more people understand why we should vote and how we vote. So let much more people join an EOS ecosystem. I think there are mainly these kind of things we are going to do.
Nice. Yeah, the voting part is something that a lot of folks have been asking about too. They say, well, how do I pick candidates? Who should I pick and what should I do? Do you have any advice for those folks?
As for what kind of block producer candidate they should choose, because it's up to them, because there are a lot of very excellent block producer candidates. So if they think that a certain block producer candidate would play a very important role and they're going to make a huge contribution to the EOS ecosystem, they can choose them. And as for their information, maybe they can look for some information on the internet, like in a Steemit or this kind of web page. And as for detailed voting instruction, we are going to publish it.
Nice. That'll help a lot of people. Go ahead there, Organ.
Oh yeah, and we are also working on a translation for the EOS portal.
Cool. In the EOS portal, the community voting portal.
Right.
Helping translate that into Korean.
It will be the same site except a Korean version.
Good deal. And thank you guys for everything you're doing. And
just one question, Kev, before we wrap up. The voting portal and the Korean translation, it'll be on the same portal, right? The same website.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
Of course. Yeah.
Just make it nice and easy for the token holders, so they can click over and
Right. And there is going to be a link to each BP candidates so that they can see the information of the BPs.
Very nice. Yeah. Good deal. Well, thank you guys for coming on EOSYS. Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you, Kevin and Bluejays.
Thank you, Orca. Thank you, Chris.
Have a nice day.
Yes, and have a good day.
Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, Bluejays, yeah. So it's South Korea, and it's a hub. We've talked about this, but man, looking good in South Korea, right?
Yep. So Kevin, I never asked you what was your favorite type of food that you had when you were down there?
I would say it was actually the rice wine. Maybe was my. We did have a fair amount of that at some point, and just very smooth.
Honest answer.
Yes. We also had they had this amazing restaurant where they basically cook the meat in front of you, and then they have all these nice sauces that you can have as well. And of course, I'm sorry, I don't remember the official name or what it was, but really good. I can tell you that much. My stomach remembers it.
Yeah.
And,
Korean barbecue.
Korean barbecue. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite foods? Korean food.
Well, I mean, I've never been to Korea, but the kimchi is pretty good. Have you had? It's like a fermented cabbage almost. That's pretty good. Yeah. Korean barbecue, not bad. Now look like we have some fans of Korean barbecue in the chat. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, everybody seems to have some love for the Korean barbecue, huh?
Yeah.
Oh boy, yeah. Don't blame them. And we have LiquidEOS coming on there, Bluejays. This is actually Bancor. A lot of folks have heard about Bancor. They've heard about the protocol. They know that Dan likes it. Well, they're also running for block producer candidate as well. And here we go. Adam. Hey, Adam.
This is why they wanted headphones. Okay.
Hello.
Hey, Adam. And if you have the YouTube on, you may have to mute it because it'll give you some feedback.
This is Eyal.
Hi.
Great to meet you.
Bancor.
I'm Eyal.
Oh, hi guys.
That was The disembodied voice had me completely thrown off there. Okay, perfect. Great to meet you guys. Yeah, and of course we'd love to hear more about you guys. You're running for block producer candidate, and we're all big fans of Bancor, and of course we need to learn more about that too. So, yeah, what about you guys? Let's hear more from you.
We've been in the space for quite some time, since 2011. Bitcoin kind of inspired a group of people to think about the concept of user-generated money, if you will, and how would that have an effect on our culture? What would it mean that anyone can create a currency and use that within a group? We've been excited about Bitcoin, but Ethereum was the first time that we could actually implement that vision of user-generated currencies, and we did, and that was kind of the beginning of the journey. And right in the beginning, I remember like a week before our token sale, we were in New York, and so the EOS launch, and I remember sitting in the audience watching Dan Larimer presenting it. And Brock Pierce, who's like is a friend, he kind of invited me to watch the presentation, and we got very excited from the first second. And we've been in touch with the team ever since, and really like the approach that EOS has, and especially the different approach that it has compared to the other blockchain solutions, if you will. And I think for quite some time we have aligned strategically with EOS, as again we see that as the first blockchain platform that can actually run decentralized applications. So that's a big deal for us, and we want to make sure that we are as close and as active in the EOS community as we can be.
Very nice. Yeah, go ahead, Bluejays.
Sorry, I didn't catch your name. Is it Adam?
So my name is Eyal Herzog.
Oh, that's right. You're the founder.
Oh, co-founder, yes.
Okay, great. Nice to meet you. So what does Bancor essentially do? It gives liquidity to a currency, like you mentioned, but how can you break that down for some of us, like price discovery? What does that mean?
Yeah, so I think it's a very good question, and really to understand Bancor, it's important to take like a step back and say, okay, when we say liquidity, what do we mean?
Right.
And I think the easiest way to kind of analyze it is to see all the currencies today as like a network for value transfer, which they are. If we're both using Bitcoin, so we can transfer value to each other by sending Bitcoin or whatever currency that we use to each other. So you can look at all those as separate networks, but what about sending value, transferring value between those networks? So you need a way to convert Bitcoin to Ether, to dollars, to Apple stocks, to whatever, and we call that liquidity. It's the ability to convert one form of currency to each other and essentially move value between different networks of value. I like to say that liquidity is the internet of value, if you will, because if you look at all those currencies as a separate network, the internet is the liquidity is the internet that connects all those separate networks to one giant network where you can move value from anywhere to anywhere. And that's very powerful. We see that in modern economy, that the fact that all the shares and the currencies and the bonds and everything is connected in a single liquidity network that you can convert from asset to asset is very instrumental to our economic evolution. Now, the liquidity today, it always works in the same way. So it always using kind of the concept that in order to convert one asset to another, you need to kind of be matched with someone who wants to do the opposite. Mm-hmm. And that is actually that works, although it has a lot of issues with it, because because there's not always someone on the other side that want to do the opposite. And this is what introduces a low liquidity or liquidity risks, especially when we're talking about currencies or tokens that are not, heavily traded. And we have this equation that it's not heavily traded, it's not liquid. We look at the volume and from that we figure out if it's liquid or not. Now, Bancor introduces a whole new approach to liquidity, which is very fundamentally different than the classic approach of connecting buyers and sellers through order books and bids. But it's very different from that approach in the way that you don't need to match buyer and seller because we use smart contracts. And smart contracts, essentially, they operate as a naive, objective, and fully automatic market makers. And the way that they operate, I think, the simplest way to kind of explain it is to explain the basic building block of the Bancor liquidity network, which is the token relay, as we call it, which is essentially a smart contract that enables liquidity between two assets. Let's call it token 1 and token 2, or token A and token B. And the way that it works is actually very, very simple. It works in such a way that the smart contract always believes that what it has of token A and what it has of token B equal in value. So, for example, let's say the smart contract has 100 units of token A, 100 units of token B, and he thinks that those are equal in value and will let you convert between them according to that. So when you convert one token A to token B, now you'll have 101 token A and 99 token B, and the smart contract will now change the rate in which it is willing to convert between them, because now it's 100 to 1 to 99 and not 100 to 100. So if you can extrapolate on that, you see that there's like a smart contract is working like a scale. People buying more of token, converting A to B, B becomes more expensive. If people are converting B to A becomes more expensive. And that's actually arbitraged if the price is different elsewhere. And that was like a nice theory like a year ago, but then we released it. Today we have like 100 tokens being traded on the network this way. Again, there's always liquidity. It does not rely on market makers. And the liquidity is guaranteed, but the price is not guaranteed, because if everyone's just selling an asset, the price will crash, as it should.
Right.
So this is kind of the difference, and between the approach of Bancor. It has very specific benefits. The first one is that it is constant liquidity, even if it's for a small token that is used by 10 people. It's always going to be liquid. People can buy it and sell it without too much of moving the price, or as we say in Bancor, the issuer can decide the level of liquidity by deciding how much to deposit in the smart contract. More deposited, more liquidity. Less is less liquidity. And the second advantage is that you take market makers out of the equation, so it's cheaper liquidity, because as we all know, market makers are there to make money. And if you think about it, the largest corporation on earth are market makers, which make a lot of money from market making the biggest assets in the world. But using this system, they're not required. It's like a self-driving car technology for drivers. Bancor is for market makers. So that's cheaper liquidity. And additionally, it's more honest liquidity, because it's not possible to pump and dump, and it's meaningless to fake volumes on Bancor, because liquidity has nothing to do with the volume. And pumping and dumping is only possible because people are being able to trade with themselves, because we have this bid-ask system and matching system, and it's very easy to fool the system and make it seem as if there is a hype or momentum around a specific asset, and people do that all the time all over the world, and it is a free market failure if you think about it, and it's one that Bancor protocol solves, because when you're trading with a smart contract, you cannot fool the system because you're not trading with yourself. So that's kind of the main advantages of the system, and this is what we've been doing for quite some time. And obviously we had a lot of challenges dealing with the immaturity of the blockchain technology. And I would say that, you know, it's like building mobile apps for Palm Pilot, you know. It was done, but it's not simple, right? It took some time for the platform to become, you know, mature enough in order for app developers to really have a good experience building apps for them. And so we started essentially with Ethereum, but as I mentioned before, we saw that there's a much bigger potential that can be explored to the entire space by using mechanism like, you know, giving up on the mandatory user fees. That's a big deal for Bancor. You know, whenever there's a load on the Ethereum network, so a transaction, a simple conversion of token to token transaction on Bancor that usually costs, you know, $1 or less, can get up to $20. We actually seen like $50 at the CryptoKitties mania, and that's horrible. That's kind of kills our product. It kills our user engagement, because, you know, it doesn't help if I'm saving you all the money from market makers and it's all decentralized. But if you pay $50 per transaction, then most conversion between tokens would make less sense. So this is just one example of how we experience firsthand that the anti-spam mechanism, which is what it is, the fees are an anti-spam mechanism. It's not to compensate the miners, because the miners are generally compensated from additional ether that is being issued. But the user fees, the transaction fees, are actually a spam prevention mechanism, and it's one that has real deep cost in user experience. So that is just one example of why we like the direction that EOS is taking, but definitely not the only one.
Bancor, it sounds like you guys take the speculation out of the trading.
That we take off speculation of the trading?
Yeah.
So I would say two things. That there are two forms of speculation. One form of speculation is, I would say, the short-term speculation that, you know, a lot of people doing like technical analysis, because it's like a self-feeding system. This is why it's so hard to predict it, because everything that happens on the markets and on the graphs is having an effect on what will happen in the markets, because everyone is like looking at the trends and making their decision as they go. So I think that on the short-term speculative spectrum, I think there's a big difference, because, as I said, you don't need the market makers that drive most of the short-term speculation into the markets. You don't need them to put their orders there and to kind of figure out what the spread should be at any given moment, and that's all gone with Bancor. However, there is, I think, a form of positive speculation, which I call it the long-term speculation. So, you know, let's say I just throw Ether, and it's in, you know, in the very beginning, and I think, oh my God, Ethereum is going to be great, and I can see all the apps and all the tokens that will be on Ethereum, and I want to speculate that this is the future of Ethereum, so I buy Ether. And let's say that I'm not the only one that doing that, but many thousands of people are doing it around the world. So what it does, it takes the price of Ether to the moon. Mm-hmm. And as it does that, it's actually providing more economical power and more influence for the Ethereum Foundation and for the assets that they have. And it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So it's almost like if the collective consciousness believe and predict that Ethereum will be great, that will make it easier for Ethereum to be great, because everyone is buying their token. So I think this form of speculation is going to stay with us, and it's a good thing, because it's a form of wisdom of the crowd. Mm-hmm. And wisdom of the crowd has been proven as a very good prediction mechanism in general. So I think that will stay with us.
This is fascinating hearing from you directly, and thank you very much for coming on with us too. Real quickly, why is Bancor running for Block Producer as well?
So, you know, for us, you know, we feel that today we are already one of the most, I would say, used decentralized application today. I mean, if you look at the charts, there's a lot of money being processed in the smart contract of Bancor every day. It's completely decentralized. It's like we're trying to kind of explore the space of decentralized apps because, you know, they're mostly promised at this point, and we've seen some successful games, but you know, long-lasting decentralized apps that are being used by people every day. There's actually quite there's really few and far between, so to speak. And as a major decentralized application developer, we want to make sure that the platform, and not just the platform from a technical perspective, because I would say the platform from a social perspective, because, you know, Bitcoin and blockchain in general, it's not a technological evolution as much as it is a social one. Because we're talking about the formation of agreements. It's like, you know, the internet was not such an amazing technological achievement. We had networks before the internet. Some would say even, you know, technologies that were better in different sense. But the triumph of the internet was the ability to get so many parties to agree on the definition of the network, therefore creating a standard for a network and creating a decentralized, essentially, protocol that works everywhere. And I think the same is here. There are agreements and standards being formed as we speak. And EOS is one of the, I would say, groundbreaking agreements and standards, because unlike anything that came before him, EOS has a very critical social layer to it. It's not just technical. It's not purely mathematics. It's not purely numbers. It's not you know, purely attack vectors. And EOS is not thinking this way. EOS kind of movement, I would say, appreciate the fact that there are people involved, and trust is not always a bad thing. You know, the kind of crypto movement led us to believe that trust is the most horrible thing that ever happened to humanity, and God keep us from the idea of leadership and vision. That's really bad. You know, no leadership should. You know, Steve Jobs is an abomination as far as the crypto community cares, and I'm not saying it lightly. I mean, I was sitting in meetups with talking about, you know, we should give some appreciation to leadership like Steve Jobs, and look what he brought to the world. And I was getting response of like, this is like Hitler. I shit you not. I mean, this is how it goes. So I think that, again, EOS is presenting like a new thinking about blockchain, and a new approach that, for example, says, you know what, you can update a smart contract. I mean, something that almost going to split the Ethereum community, because they cannot decide if, you know, if the $300 million or however that is of parity, if I'm not mistaken, is going to remain locked forever, or, you know, they're going to do something to release it. I mean, think about it. There's $300 million of assets that are actually targeted to build Ethereum, you know, ecosystem, and there's like a huge fight whether those funds should remain locked forever or released. And this is the kind of thing that I feel EOS is looking at differently. There's a different approach, and, you know, having a constitution and, you know, having the human element. So we want to be as deep as we can in this, I should say, human experiment, and help it succeed from the inside, rather than, you know, just as a decentralized application developer.
So you want it to be part of the block producer community?
Part of the block producer community, as well as part of the application developer community.
Right.
So, and obviously we all want to be part of the user community, because we're all going to use at least Bancor, but hopefully more dApps on EOS.
Speaking of dApps, do you have anything on the horizon that you're willing to share?
You know, we have some interesting things that is going on. I cannot share a lot, but I do have, you know, I can say that we've been thinking about solution for stable token, and we're thinking about solutions for kind of I would say synthetic assets that can operate in different way. We see a lot of value in that. In blockchain that supports smart contracts. We also we just released released a few months ago actually. We released our wallet, and we see more adoption of people using that. And we released like a credit card gateway integration. So we really, the background of the founders in Bancor is all the same. We all came from consumer technology background. So we, for decades, we just build solution to be used by non-technologists, by regular people. And we've been actually running experiment with digital currencies that we issued back in 2013 on like a young mom group. And we had a lot of moms, like 10,000 moms using the application every day, trading like 1,000 transactions a day on an app that we build them with their own custom currency called the Hearts. And this is not the typical crypto audience. So going forward with our product, we look for more and more solution to make it really accessible to the regular Joe. That's kind of what we know to do. This is what we care about doing, to make it something less cryptic and less scripted. It's a good choice of words. And more, with broad appeal, and find the use cases for that. One very exciting project that I can talk about is local currencies in Kenya that we are actually working on right now. They're like a group of local currencies that are actually paper-based, and we're digitizing them to be smartphone and card-based. And while doing that, using the Bancor protocol, we're going to make those local currencies the first liquid local currencies in history. So the first local currency that has a price discovery, that if you buy the local currency with your money, the value of the local currency will go up. If you're selling it in order to get, the national fiat money, then the value will go down, and you'll have this form of, credit creation that is similar to what we saw in Bitcoin, that started with a very low market cap. But think about all this new value that was created by people adopting Bitcoin and Ethereum and other currency as currencies and holding them and using this whole newly created value. We were able to deploy $7 billion of deployed capital to actual project with actual developers and product managers and marketeers that are building them. So take this huge phenomena to a local setting, and this is what we're building in Kenya.
Eyal, where can we keep up with you? Where can the community keep up with you? Where what page? And I know you guys have been around for a long time, but if there's any new area or new website that we can keep up with you, just let us know.
So our Bancor.network is obviously our homepage and where our product is. We have a blog, we have a Twitter, and we have a Telegram, which are all very, very active. We really pride ourselves with our Telegram group because it's really a place where you can come and you can ask any question, and people will help you get to what you want. We have a support Telegram group if anyone has problem. We have a trader Telegram group if anyone want to discuss the price. And those are like kind of the main channels that I would say, and Reddit as well. Now, obviously, we have the LiquidEOS, website and Telegram that is about the block producer efforts that people can keep up from there as well.
Well, we're proud to have you part of this community. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
It's our pleasure, and we're happy to be.
Great.
Yeah, looking forward to working with you guys in the future, all of us together in EOS. Yeah, thank you very much for coming on.
Cool. Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. See ya.
Guys.
Yeah.
Man, that was fascinating. I could listen all day long, Bluejays. I don't know about you, but I was learning a lot, and that was fun.
I think I finally get what Bancor is about. Explained by the co-founder. So, yep.
Yeah, that usually helps, right?
Yeah.
And here we have EOS-PH coming up. They're going to be speaking with us about their block producer candidacy. And so this morning for us, we're going to hear from a lot of folks in Asia, which is wonderful. That's what we're hoping for. And also Bancor, we should say they're based in Israel.
Yeah.
We just spoke with as well. Bluejays, can you give everybody a brief? Oh, there's Javier. Oh, wow. They have a huge team, a big team. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love it. Disco ball, Bluejays. We got disco. Disco ball, guys. Here we go. Oh, man. I love it.
EOS team and a lot of interested EOS fans out here.
That's great. I can see someone has an EOS heart shirt back there. Hi. Yeah. This is great. So, what are you guys up to? What's going on back there?
We're having some food, pizza, barbecue.
Party out of it.
Launch party. So yeah, we wanted to, keep it the spirit of the launch party, and we wanted to make it as fun and relaxed as possible.
Looks like you guys are succeeding, I would say. It looks amazing. Yeah. So how's it look? I mean, what time is it for you right now? And also, where are you based out of?
So we're based out of Manila, Makati City, which is in the bounds of Metro Manila. It's Sunday night. It's 7:49 p.m. Some of us have family dinners, but we decided to come here. And one of our there are two birthday celebrants actually.
Oh, happy birthday!
Wow. And so same birthday as this huge weekend, huh? It's almost like having a birthday on Christmas. Well, I guess for us in the United States. So what does your day look like so far, guys? What's it been like?
So it's been busy. We've had 2 meetups this week. First meetup of EOS, it was the first meetup for EOS in the Philippines. It was Monday, and Wednesday we had another meetup for smart contract, exploring the smart contract of EOS IO. So it's been a busy week. Our servers are configured and ready for the launch. So hopefully that as well. And so hopefully more meetups in the future. The coming week.
Sounds like community building is very important for you guys in terms of building up community for EOS. And how are you seeing? Are there a lot of developers out there interested in EOS, or is there a lot of momentum building?
We have a couple of developers here.
Yeah, there are a couple of developers here.
Yeah, how many? 4 or 5.
Yeah, 4 or 5 developers in
this room.
Oh, good.
And it's growing. Yeah, it's relatively new for many of the developers here, but we're trying to spread awareness and first of all awareness for blockchain and eventually hopefully EOS, and we're succeeding so far. So it's growing. It's growing.
And what do you guys see in Manila? What do you see blockchain being most effective for? What are some use cases that you guys are very passionate about?
Yeah. So we think non-government organizations, OFW remittance, I think is huge. And so for the Philippines, we're about 80% unbanked. So that's, I think, getting people on to blockchain and cryptocurrency is a huge deal for developing countries like the Philippines.
And we just recently heard from, for example, the Nairobi team. They said they were hoping to incentivize parents to send their children to school, which we thought was interesting, rather than having the children provide labor or work, and instead incentivize the parents to send them to school. Are there any, and that's something that Bluejays and I had never thought of, but of course it's very important for them. And in terms of in the Philippines, do you guys see, is there anything in particular like that really just sort of excites you? Is it peer-to-peer payments, or is it, what's kind of the best thing you think?
For the community, hi, I'm John.
Yeah, this is John.
So for the community, we're looking at actually focusing on education for any excess revenue. So,
hey, Javier, maybe he needs to come a little bit closer.
Yeah. We are actually in talks with a university in Korea. So early stages, but we want to send out Filipinos there. They have this first blockchain curriculum in Korea, and we're hoping to train Filipinos there and import them back to be able to train the community here. So that's one thing we're focusing on. We have also another person on board, a professor, whose focus is on disaster recovery and resiliency. The Philippines is in the Pacific Ring of Fire, and we're hit with typhoons, floods, earthquakes, etc. So we want to help fund that advocacy of his to make sure that all his resiliency and disaster recovery projects are well funded. So those two things, education and resiliency for the Filipino people.
Yes, your plans and well, to get a program up and running for top Filipinos to learn more about blockchain abroad and hopefully come back and train and share the knowledge that they gathered and eventually have a huge blockchain community in the Philippines. So working with 2 universities and planning to spread them across the country as well.
Kind of the best place to start, right? I mean, start in the universities where folks are still learning and they're still open to learning new things as well, right? And Bluejays and I have talked about this too, about how you start with, it's kind of like what Facebook did back when Facebook started, right? They went to universities, they started there, and then they grew out from that way. Is that the kind of the same way you see working for blockchain and dApps in general?
Yeah, we think universities are a good place to start. And eventually community building and meetups is the next big opportunity. So, and we think there's a lot of noise in the media, and it's nice to get that face-to-face question and answer going so that we get the information from source.
One interesting bit that we've started was to talk to a chain of, I'm not sure if any of you have been to the Philippines. There are chains of technology schools here. So they're practically decentralized schools. Instead of one large campus, they have smaller campuses, and those campuses are even in the countryside. So we've talked to them, and we want to share with them whatever curriculum that we can build out of the relationship with the Korean university we're talking to right now. And we also have a relationship right now with the largest teachers university in the Philippines. So that's one thing we're looking at, cascading the knowledge, cascading the curriculum to even to the grassroots level. So countryside development is really huge in the Philippines. There's a lot of underdeveloped towns and municipalities in the country, and we want to be more inclusive in how we do things. Having mentioned remittance, right? So financial inclusion and educational inclusion. So those two, as well as, of course, the disaster recovery and resiliency that we talked about earlier.
What are you guys most looking forward to for the next week?
Next week, launching a chain.
Or the next few days, obviously, right? You want to see EOS come to life.
Yep, very excited, and we. With EOS, we believe also in the frictionless borders and individual freedoms, and so we thought EOS had the same values, and we want to see it succeed, and eventually more people will be aware of it, and the blockchain industry will grow in the Philippines.
Very cool. What's up on the radar for you guys after its launch? What's on the radar? What do you guys have in store?
So more meetups, and I think there's a hackathon that we're planning in October, and we're gonna if we get elected, hopefully we can sponsor that and eventually keep the community active in searching for new technologies like blockchain and them creating projects which we can then help foster and grow.
Adding to what Javi mentioned, the thrust is to make EOS practically the most popular blockchain in the country. So right now, the Filipinos are exposed to other platforms, Ethereum, Bitcoin. We want to practically push EOS into the top of mind realm of the Filipino people. So we want them to, once they think of blockchain, they think of EOS and think of possibilities that can be built on top of EOS. So this week is very exciting for us. With our node is up and running.
Very good.
So we can actually show you the network equipment is here. It's mounted. It's ready.
It's secure.
It's secure. DDoS mitigation and detection and mitigation is up. So I hope we don't get to test it, but it's ready. So we're ready for volumetric attacks. That's part of our existing operations right now. So we have multiple terabits of mitigation capacity. So we're good to go.
That's great. Yeah, and we actually have somebody in the chat who's Jangolese says, my wife is from the Philippines. Love you guys. So you guys have some love in the chat from the audience. Yeah. Yeah, and maybe before we go, so Bluejays has a button he likes to hit. It plays a little disco song and shows a disco ball. Now, we won't be able to hear it, but you have to pretend you can, and we can all dance. You ready? Bluejays, can we get some disco? It's going. It's going. All right. So thank you guys very much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Oh, wow, look at that. They got the disco ball there going, too.
This looks amazing.
Can we share a plug for our website and Telegram group chat?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
Awesome. So please catch us at eosph.io for our website, and Telegram chat is EOS_PH if you guys want to ask around or know more about the Philippines, even. Yeah.
We'll put those links up in the chat as well so folks can find you guys. Absolutely.
You're all invited to come here, okay?
Visit the Philippines.
Okay. Thanks, Javi. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Nice to meet you.
Wow, that was awesome.
The
party is...
Everyone's partying, man.
I know. It looks great. Let's see. We have, yeah, in the Philippines. Have you been to the Philippines, Bluejays?
I have not. I have not. I have not been down to the Asian area, Asian part of the world. I have not. No. Oh,
okay. Yeah, I mean, I haven't been either. I would love to go now, especially after seeing the party, and they were having a good time, and they seemed so passionate about blockchain and EOS. That was awesome. Hey, Mao.
Hey, Mao.
Mao is with EOS Real coming in here from China to say hello. He may have disappeared briefly, but so yeah, Bluejays, when are you going to Philippines? Oh, there he is. He's back. Hey, Mao, can you hear us okay?
I can't hear you.
Yeah. Can't hear you, Mao. Oh.
No, he says he's probably going to somewhere where it's a little quieter.
Yeah, it looks like it's something. Something's happening where he is.
Where is Mao, anyways?
Well, he's based in China. I don't know which city or what part.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll hopefully find out more. And he was actually, Mao went to... Oh, can you hear us, Mao?
Yes, very good.
Hey, great to see you. It looks like a big party back there, huh? What's going on?
Right. We haven't slept, since probably 24 hours ago. Yeah, this is my daughter, Joy, and Jolene. Hello.
Hello. Wow. Are you out for dinner, for partying, just hanging out?
Right. We just got some time to eat some stuff, and we are in a Brazil Latin restaurant here in Shanghai, and I think you got a great party. We originally thought to arrange all the members of EOS Real to join this party, but it seems we got much more to do and left to work on in the past 72 hours.
Speaking of which, I saw you very active in the EOSGA channel last night, trying to wrap up the Constitution.
Right. It's also a part of EOS goal. Kevin helped within the process after we don't have the governance document anymore, because without those governance documents, specifically the EOS Constitution and the recording contracts, we are basically not governed, blockchain anymore. But we managed to solve that issue within last 48 hours. Right. It has been sleepless, for last 48 hours. So a lot of people, probably hundreds of them, have been working together on the technology side and the non-technology side, including a couple of fellows of EOS Real including someone like you, Kevin and Bluejays from EOS Go. We do appreciate, all your effort here. Let's just cross our fingers and let's fight for, the launch of the mainnet.
Right, and
I love it. Yeah, go ahead, Bluejay.
Right, Mao, and basically this is the part of that has to go into the mainnet, right? Before it even gets launched, we need to put those ABIs, those Ricardian contracts in there.
Exactly. It's the only way, without these, basically you are not a governed blockchain. You are, by definition, you are not blockchain at all, because a part of blockchain is the economic system, which, without the constitutions, like without the recording contracts, basically you are like Lipo.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, and can you give a better idea how is the community coming to consensus on some of these documents? How's it working out?
First, from a couple of weeks ago, we because everyone else is focusing on the technology part of EOS, the constitution part, the governance part, started about 6 to 9 months ago. And people were trying to work out both the governance part to incorporate it in the blockchain part, technology part. So the main problem here is technology people don't know much about the governance. Governance people don't know much about technology. So luckily we have Daniel. Luckily we have Thomas Cox, who know both sides of the coin, so they can combine together, a lot of things. We have been, working day and night for past 6 to 9 months, and EOS Real has, called for reaching consensus on the old versions, previous versions of Constitution, as well as recording contracts. For past, a couple of months, probably 4 to 8 weeks. So a lot of people joined, roughly hundreds of people, not only, the block producer candidates, but also the people from neutral side or independent side, like Kevin and Bluejays and, Sam, Todder. A lot of people are independent. Joined this process to help us to formulate formulate the whole constitution and recording contract. I think it looks good now. We have many works to perfect it in the coming 90 days / 180 days. But most importantly, we unite together and let's launch the mainnet within next few days.
Mao, talk about how easy it is or how hard it is to change articles or parts of the Constitution once it's in the mainnet. Like the most hard part I've been seeing is basically not only the technology guy don't understand the governance side, but also a lot of members, they don't know both sides, meaning the technology side as well as the governance side. So we have to spend countless hours to communicate, reach out to the community members to understand what they are talking about and explain what we are doing. And finally, sometimes, there is compromise from every member in this community to reach acceptable constitution / recording contract, which we think is is already there. But for, like what I said, for a perfection of this recording contract, we haven't touch base in the law side, the legal side. There are even fewer legal experts on the chain.
So we are getting more and more, legal experts as well. That's why I say, there are 90 days / 180 days. By the end of this year, we are going to perfect this constitution and the recording contracts with the joint force from the community.
And actually, you must have said the word governance too many times, because then the expert himself popped in here, and he's on the call right now. Thomas Cox, hey.
Greetings. What's up?
Good morning.
Mr. Cox, did you sleep last night?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I went to sleep around 10 p.m. No, 9 p.m. East Coast time. And then I just popped back awake about 90 minutes later. I guess that was a nap and not real sleep.
Okay.
And I was up until about 2:30 a.m. East Coast time. And then woke up again about 7. So what's that, about 4.5, 5 hours. Really good sleep.
Really good sleep. Yeah. And did you hear Mao was...
I knew that Mao was awake,
I think he's having dinner.
Yeah, I'm here. The amazing thing for the past 48 hours is we are working round the clock. We are like the empire of the sun never set down. I don't know. It's quoted by some movie. I'm not sure whether it's political implication over there, but basically we are like Cox went down and I'm up, and the other guy in Europe took the how do you call that, torch in between. So basically we are not asleep. There are a bunch of us, a dozen of us, who has been working 24 hours 7 in past week. That's really amazing.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, go ahead, Thomas. Yeah.
Oh, I've just been watching everybody do all this work, and I've been monitoring some channels and answering the occasional question that's directed at me, and just been tremendously impressed with the work of the community.
And what's being sort of implemented now after all this work? What are you guys' sort of thoughts on it? Is it a good workable document, workable start?
I think I did have a look at the community repository, and it looks to me that the spirit of what was discussed in the Telegram channels is present in the current set of governance documents, and it also looks like the snapshot is being validated very rigorously. So if we converge on a single snapshot, and there is one trusted repository with the executable code plus the governance documents, which kind of is looking like maybe there is, or shortly will be, then I think the next step may very well be to launch the chain.
How many snapshot verifications do we need? Has there been a number there? I saw Saeed asking for 5, maybe.
I wasn't tracking that. I saw that there were 5 or 6 that were done that agreed pretty much within like 5 or 6 decimal places, except for 2 accounts. And one of the approaches apparently missed 2 accounts that the other approaches found, which indicates it was probably a weird corner case. There apparently are a large number of corner cases. This is some sort of a strange 20-sided die or something with a lot of corners, I guess. And all I can say is thank goodness Snapshot worked on this thing off and on for 9 months, getting the logic straight.
So needless to say, there is progress being made on a couple fronts right now.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Absolutely. We've got a couple key people napping. The rest are working on whatever their piece of the bigger picture is. And I'm hoping that Mao will have a look at the governance repository and see what's... Basically, I'm going to trust Mao to say whether governance is right at this point. I don't see anything wrong with it, but who am I? I'm just some guy.
Just some guy who happens to be also an expert, though, too.
Who happens to be forbidden by his employer to have any hands-on role in the law. So,
and we go ahead, Mal.
We got not only myself but also Sam, Todd, who has been like Sam went to sleep like 4 a.m. in East Coast or 1 or 2 a.m. In West Coast. So he is currently sleeping for a couple of hours after he did a review on the governance document. We got Todd, who is awake because he is in Europe. And looked at whole thing. We got a bunch of tech guys, including Bancor, as well as someone Alex just wake up, went through these files, and all of us so far are good about the current version. By meaning good is incorporate the majority of the community idea into the governance side in a technical way. So it's recording contract, there's constitutions written in the technology, wording /code. So it's pretty good. I think that's why Cox can go to sleep for such a long 6 hours.
Right. In any other time, 6 hours would be not enough, but during the launch, it's a lot. So
I'm sure Mr. Cox has sacrificed his sleep elsewhere during this whole process leading up to now. Most likely, just a little bit. Well, yeah, and we heard earlier from Eosis possibly a chain launch within the next couple hours, 2 to 3 hours. Do you guys, as of right now, kind of see the same thing happening? In your best estimates?
I guess we can let Mao answer that one. Mao, what do you think?
I think current versions are still like testnet, like what you mentioned. It's very early. We still got a bunch of time, to make sure things are going smoothly. But one thing is for sure is there are hundreds of people working behind the screen, and all of us are aiming to the same goal. We want to launch it as soon as possible, and more importantly, as quality as possible. So I'd like to say, there are a bunch of iterations going on. So we are going to see the mainnet launch. I'm not sure, exact time now, but I'm expecting the mainnet is going to be launched within probably next a few days.
Very nice. Yeah. And Thomas, do you have any champagne left at all? Did you drink it all yesterday?
I did mention I got a small bottle, one of these 375 milliliter ones, and I've got the full size 750. And I only opened the small one for the token freeze and the initial works handover to the community. The 750 milliliter is still in the fridge, still waiting on mainnet launch.
Will you be sharing that at home?
And wherever I am in the world.
Okay.
I won't be able to bring it on the airplane, but otherwise it's going to be, I'm going to keep it in the car. Well, probably shouldn't do that. I'll just come back here to the hotel. That's what I'll do. Or I'll keep it in the office in the fridge. But when there's 21 elected block producers making blocks on a mainnet chain with an agreed upon and vetted Genesis block, that's the moment. 21 elected block producers. That's my threshold. That's when I pop the champagne. I think we're less than 48 hours away from that, by the way.
Wow, good prediction.
Wow. Okay, very nice.
Mark your calendars.
All right.
48 hours.
Man, write that down.
I predict. We'll see.
Okay. Thank you guys for the predictions. Yeah, and thank you very much for coming on and giving us a brief update. We really appreciate it.
Yep,
hopefully someone can get some sleep at some point. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I'm going to run. Ciao.
Thank you. See you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mo.
Yeah, Bluejays. So we've heard a couple things now. looks like it's very hard to predict basically when the chain might actually take place, chain launch, but everything's moving forward, right? The validation thing you mentioned, can you talk about that?
Yeah, so I guess the token snapshot was taken, and we have independent block producers running a snapshot extract. So that extract comes out as a CSV file. Basically, that CSV file has all the accounts, all the addresses, the token balances, and what those balances, what the account name in EOS is. So several block producers are trying to come up with as many different independently generated CSV lists of those balances, and that's called a snapshot. Now, what they need to do is they need to compare them, do a diff on them, like we talked about earlier. A diff is a Unix command or Linux command that compares both of them and basically says what are the differences. And if there's not too many real differences and there's just small, minute, probably minor, not even a big deal type of differences, then they can probably go, okay, that one's a check, that one's a check, that one's a check, that one's a check. And then if they get about 5 of them or whatever it is that they specify, then they will say, okay, we have consensus on the snapshot. Hey, Ash.
Hey, there's Ash.
Gentlemen, what up, guys?
Hey, doing well. Yeah, how about you? What's up?
I see the disco ball back there.
You want the disco?
I want the disco.
I think it's
it's good to be back. I was just on with EOS Tribe for like 2 hours today. It's been such an amazing day.
Nice. Well done. You and then we have DutchEOS has popped in here as well. Hello, Stephen and Jan.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing well. Yeah.
All right.
Hey, Stephen and Jan, how are you guys doing today?
Yeah, pretty good. It's a little earlier than yesterday, so no champagne, wine, or beer yet.
Oh, speaking of champagne, it's about time to pop bottles.
All right.
Where are you at, Ash? Is nighttime for you?
It's 7:15 p.m. here in Koh Samui, Thailand. Yep.
It's still in Thailand. Okay. Yep.
Still in Thailand.
Nice place to be, man.
Yeah, headed to San Francisco in 2 days to go to the Tulip Conference. Really excited to be speaking there. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Excellent.
Have you all met before, Ash and Steven and Jan?
I think Jan was on the call the other day. I was on with 2 guys from Amsterdam, I believe.
That might have been EOS Amsterdam.
I think that's
that was
from EOS Amsterdam.
That wasn't EOS Amsterdam.
Exactly.
I like to hang out with the Dutch, apparently.
Yeah, it seems so.
I actually think the Dutch have the best non-English as a first language accent. So.
All right. Thank you.
Just throwing that out there. So is there an update on the Mainnet? Is there anything that we can get little tidbits here?
Yeah, well, as far as I know, indeed, block producers are still trying to converge on the snapshots. Yeah, we've just heard it as well from Thomas. I think there are 5 or 6 who've been able to converge. There was only one block producer who had 2 accounts which were slightly different. So all in all, that looked good. I would indeed think, as Thomas said, that we're not far away. I heard that Mao was a bit more conservative. He said a few days. But it feels to me more like today.
Oh, so Thomas's prediction was 48 hours. I think I don't believe Mao said a few days. Yeah, he said a few days. So
yeah,
and we heard a few hours earlier as well, possibly.
I heard that there were 4 mainnets launched.
Here we go.
Oh yeah, it's right on it. Oh man, I love it. You didn't spill all over the computer too. That's good.
Salud, fellas.
Yeah, indeed. Wow. It's only 7 in the morning here. 8 in the morning now for us. We're gonna.
Cheers.
Cheers, man. I got my coffee though.
Cheers.
Awesome. Yeah. What's been going on with you guys over at DutchEOS? What's new?
So last night was pretty relaxed. This morning we had a look at the Constitution and we supported it. We gave our blessings as well in the long list, of course. So yeah, really want to thank everybody who worked on that, especially Sam and Mao as well. Yeah, so that seems ready to go. Snapshot has been working on, so yeah, we're waiting for that last ingredient and to see things take off.
And can you help describe for folks what needs to happen when you say you agreed to it? Can you help the community understand who aren't familiar with it, what needs to happen for the Constitution?
Yeah. So there have been, since 2 days, I think, a lot of new discussions because Block 1 asked the community to decide for themselves without their support to come to a joint constitution and a block producer agreement. So that's been going on. A few small changes were made, 3 or 4, I think, and it has been posted again. Maybe somebody can put the link next to it in the YouTube. And the block producers have been asked to sign it off. So I think there is already a huge list, probably around 100. I haven't counted. Yeah. That's the process that's been going on, and basically when you join EOS, when you work with the EOS chain, you're basically having to agree by signing those agreements with that constitution and with that block producer agreement, and that way EOS has a unique feature that it can actually try and resolve issues with when people have issues. They can ask for an independent panel to judge whether what is right or what is wrong. And that's, of course, a totally unique feature. And again, something where it shows that Dan Larimer is able to unite the tech side with governance, I think, and with business as well, as we discussed yesterday with his effort on joining having VCs, venture capitalists, join into the mix. So it's a really integrative solution that I think it's going to be fabulous.
Nice, well said. Yeah, go ahead, Bluejays.
Oh, I was just reading in the Snapshot channel that they've gotten 5 BPs plus 1 independent to match Snapshot. So there's a couple discrepancies, very minor. I think it was
2 accounts.
Two accounts, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's a very low percentage of margin of error. So it's looking good, but I'm sure they want to get more consensus there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I downloaded the Snapshot and just compared it against my own account and some of my friends' account, and everything's looking good. I gotta say, it's
so you're ready to go.
That's why you've been popping bottles, huh?
That is why I'm popping bottles. You know, it's so crazy. I would log into an Etherscan pretty much every day because I'm so like paranoid of getting hacked, and I've got like YubiKey 2-factor, and you know, I'm pretty locked down, and every day I'm like, okay, what if I got a keylogger, or what if somebody was able to like override my clipboard? And I feel like I say every day, maybe it's like 5 times a day, like, oh nope, they're still in my account. I refuse to open up my Exodus wallet. So it was nice to see like my address and my amount of EOS in the Snapshot, and it's like now I can pop bottles because I'm relieved, because now like if I get my funds stolen or if I get hacked or something, I have an actual governance layer in EOS, like have go and arbitrate this stuff. I mean, it's just unheard of. So
yeah,
there we go.
And actually, if you're really worried about keys, which you should be, of course. Also, last night I forgot to mention that we recorded that video that I mentioned before. If you want to vote offline, so if you want to be really secure, you want to use your private key offline only. So we made a little video. It's actually the Tokenica. I don't exactly know how to pronounce it, but the Tokenica tech that we went through. We tested it, and we made a little YouTube on it, so people can actually see how it works and vote securely offline.
Yeah, that's amazing. You know, I just set up and started playing with Scatter last night because I wanted to get my, I secured my domain on EOS Ashe Oro. I hope that nobody tries to outbid me there, but it was really neat to see, like, to understand. I was on with NS James for about an hour and a half today, and just to understand how Scatter, and maybe there's competitors with Scatter, but how that integrates you into like sending commands as a wallet interface to all the smart contracts of EOS, kind of like MetaMask is for Ethereum, but man, it's just such an exciting time. I wish that, I've been glad that I haven't been official part of a block producer team up to this point, because I haven't had to deal with the stress or the politics or the campaigning. But now it's like I kind of wish I was, so I had an inside track on like what's going on. So yeah, I envy you guys a little bit.
Is this an open application, Ash?
What do you mean?
I said, is this an open application? Are you looking for a spot with that?
I'm advising the Shintai guys, so I'm not officially associated with any block producer, but I'm definitely interested. I mean, I eat, sleep, and breathe EOS. I've been giving presentations throughout Asia for the past, I would say, 7 months on EOS. It's actually how I met my partner. She was at a presentation on EOS that I was giving in Chiang Mai, Thailand. So I don't know how many guys can say like, oh yeah, I met my partner at when I was giving a blockchain presentation.
Truly married into EOS.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, you're married to EOS.
Yeah. It's just great. It's been such a wild ride the past. I mean, I've been familiar with, delegated proof of stake systems since I would say 2015, when Dan came out and said that all of Ethereum could be written in one smart contract and deployed on BitShares. And I didn't really know what BitShares was. And then when Steem came out, I introduced Ned from Steem. I wasn't able to get Dan on my podcast, but it really opened my eyes on the type of community that a delegated proof of stake system can build, because it can support so much transactional throughput. And like in Ethereum, if you can't support a lot of transactional throughput, then people can't build and deploy on your blockchain. And if you can only build on a blockchain, you're really only going to attract developers. But if you can build and deploy, then you're going to start attracting creative types and salespeople and marketing people and design, all these other types of people that come in later stages of an app's life cycle that I don't think we've seen in Ethereum. So that's one thing that I'm really excited about.
Yeah. And Kevin and Bluejays, they always ask, what are you excited about next week? Maybe you want to ask again. But
sure. I mean, I think I can guess, right?
Yeah, no, but particularly this point, indeed, maybe it's not just next week, but in the weeks to come.
Okay.
How many startups which are building currently on Ether will actually start moving away and moving towards EOS? I think there's a very high chance that will happen, and that's what I will be excited about if I see, especially that happening in the coming weeks, and I expect it will.
I don't know if you guys caught Bancor, who just came, but they gave raving reviews of EOS so far. So, and of course they came from Ethereum.
Yeah.
Ash, you advise on a couple of teams who work with Ethereum, right? Like Selfkey.
Yeah, with Selfkey.
Are they considering moving over to EOS? I mean, it must be super appealing to them to switch over, right?
Yeah, it is. I'm not going to speak on their behalf.
No, of course.
I'm sure they're looking into it. There is going to be, I think there's going to be a lot more competition on the EOS blockchain for strong identity than there is for Ethereum, just because EOS was built for strong identity. Dan from the very beginning built it for strong identity. So, man, it's just really exciting. I was hesitant. I'm an old school like gold and silver guy, and whenever I always thought privacy was very, very, very important. And I still think that some level of privacy is important. But when Dan came out and wrote that article about radical transparency on Steemit, I wanted to not agree with him on that, because like the crypto libertarian anarchist side of me was like, no, we need to have privacy. But the more I thought about it, yeah, Dan is so ahead of his time on that. And I didn't want to agree with him, but now I do. And I really love the idea of voluntary inflation, which is something I'm super passionate about now, is how, we can use inflation to incentivize and add value to our community in a voluntary nature. So, man, I'll just keep drinking my champagne.
Hey, and actually, we have Rob Allen from EOSDAC just hopped in here. Rob Allen.
Hey, Rob.
Great to see you.
Very good to see you too.
And we'd love to hear an update from your perspective about everything.
Okay, well, it looks like things are a lot quieter than I imagined. It does seem pretty good from the Snapshot side. It seems we were going to be having a few problems with indeterminism. So it wasn't necessarily everybody's files weren't going to match, but it seems like everybody's matching. So that gives us a really good basis to feed something into the chain. I know there's an awful lot going on between the different groups in terms of launching. It does seem a lot quieter than I imagined.
And is that quite a good thing?
Yeah, I think it's got to be a good thing. I think if there were major crises around, then we would hear people shouting pretty loudly.
Is there anything?
Oh, sorry. Carry on.
No. Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead.
So I think it was to be expected there would be last-minute patches on the software. I think this hasn't really been checked out fully yet. I think people probably want to make sure it's checked out, and that's going to probably take a bit of time. And who knows when the actual launch sequences will really take off. But I think it's probably going as well as could be expected.
And I'm not sure if everybody knows on the call, but Mao and Thomas and a few of the, actually not Thomas, but some of the independent guys from the community have been working on the Ricardian contracts and the ABIs in order to be able to post the constitution ready for a chain that's ready. So.
And I've heard rumors that there has been a couple, not mainnets, but instances launched so far. I've been keeping up with EOS World on Twitter. Rob, do you see like multiple blockchains being launched right now and like jockeying for position for the main net, or is there any update there?
From what I can tell, things are relatively aligned, even though they're going to be. There obviously people are jockeying around because there's a lot of glory to be involved in being the ones who set it up.
Of course.
I think the different groups are kind of working together in a half sense. I know there's lines of communication. I'm not sure everyone's 100% aligned, but I know that everybody is aligned behind there being one main net at the moment. It may change in due course, but for the time being, I think everyone just wants to get this one up and running.
Yeah, of course.
It's been benefit otherwise.
It's been very interesting and relieving to see. I don't like to talk about price that much, but to see so much interest coming in at the the 13th hour here in the EOS tokens. Are we expecting Block 1 to use their very large stake to come in and decisively say, okay, there's 4 blockchains have launched. This is the one that we're going to say is the main net, and kind of put their tokens behind to support?
Well, let me take a crack at that. So before that can even if there was 4 up right now, would they be legitimate? So does it have a constitution in there? So that's the first thing. The second thing is the correct and verified token balance in there, and those processes haven't complete yet. So it doesn't really matter how many main nets are out there at this moment. Those things are still yet to be verified.
Right. Okay.
It's hard to tell. I think it probably would be a mistake for Block 1 to move very early on anything, because they've explicitly stated they're not going to be the ones launching the chain. So I think they want to make sure they're as hands-off as possible, and really leave it to everyone. And that's why you can see with them moving across the GitHub repositories to the community and so forth. I'm pretty certain we won't see Block 1 anointing anyone. If anyone will anoint one, it will probably be the exchanges, because that will be where the tokens end up, or certainly a large percentage of the tokens sitting there, and the other large stakeholders. If you get some very, very large stakeholders who are not happy with the chain, then that's when we're going to start getting forking issues.
That's a good point. One thing I've really appreciated and respected about Block 1 is they speak softly but carry a big GitHub account. I guess that's a little U.S. humor there. But it might.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Jan.
Yeah, Kevin, yesterday you asked that there was a contract, a smart contract that someone could trigger and then it freezes all the blocks, and you were asking whether I think we were going for it and we were not. Has it been found out who was the lucky person triggering that smart contract and freezing all the ERC20s?
That would be a Rob Allen question. What do you think, Rob?
I don't know, but I think you could find out.
Yeah, who did it? Yeah,
I think we could probably find out if need be, because there's a record on the chain. So there'll be a record on the blockchain of a particular account that ran that transaction. I don't know who that is.
Blocky McBlockface strikes again.
Blocky McBlockface. Because anybody could have run that transaction, right? Or how did that work? Yeah. Right, that's amazing. It was just time sensitive.
Yeah, it was
Kevin, Kevin and Bluejays, thank you. I'm going to sign out again and do some more work. And I think we'll see you one more time. So,
sure, sounds, yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for coming on.
See you later.
Bye.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have a chain running then. That'd be awesome, eh? In the next 12, 24 hours.
24 hours.
Fingers crossed, right?
That'd be super. All right. Yeah. Take care. Have a good one.
Thanks, Steven.
Yep, see you guys.
See you, Steven. Bye, Ash. There you go.
And Rob, I'd love to hear about EOS DAC and your perspective on what going forward, what does it look like for EOS DAC? How are you guys going to handle this?
Yeah, so our tokens freezed on the first day before the EOS tokens. And well, we've got a few priorities at the moment. One priority is obviously want to help in every way we can to try and get this launch worked out in as a reliable and secure way as possible. Obviously, we've got Michael on board, and that's and he is playing a big role in trying to help out. And obviously, it's got to be the #1 priority for everyone involved at the moment. But also, we've got a few other lines going on, so we obviously have to take care of our token holders now in our community. And so we've got our frozen tokens. We're doing we've got the EOS snapshot, which now we're going to merge onto the EOS DAC snapshot. That's going to mean that we then have our snapshot to move across on top of the EOS accounts once they're there. So we've got to have a timeline that's wrapped around the EOS timeline. So as soon as it's up, then we can start moving and we can start doing things on there. We'll see, like all other block producers or all other candidates, we're looking at our infrastructure. We're trying to make sure we've got all the processes and everything set up so that we can just jump in there and that we're going to be able to provide a good service from day one.
How would you compare your airdrop that you did on the ERC20 to what you need to do to get those token balances on EOS, like in terms of difficulty? Obviously, you're not using gas.
Yeah, so the advantage we've got here is that you don't have to rely on the Ethereum network anymore. So that's a double-edged sword, because with Ethereum, at least you know what you're getting, and you've got all these tools out there which have, even though they're not 100%, they are way better than what we have on EOS at the moment. So we're going to have to rely on tools that people have been building, the community have been building over the past couple of months in order to get these tokens across properly and validated. It shouldn't be too hard. Basically, it's just a list of balances and accounts and things which should get matched up. And it should be fairly basic, but we are talking about some pretty complex software that's had a ridiculous amount of effort into it. So we'll have to see how it goes. I would say it's certainly a lot quicker. Well, it certainly should be a lot quicker.
Should be,
yeah.
Ron, so I'm super curious about like the type of tools that you guys are or plan to build to help other people create DACs. You know, I'm personal friends with Luke Stokes, and I was super excited when you guys got him on the show. I mean, when you guys got him on your team. But like, can you give me and the audience a little bit of an idea of like, what does it even mean to create a DAC tool, and like, what is an example of a DAC tool? Yeah.
So everything that we've been building around is so that we can launch DACs in the future. Obviously, quite a few people involved in EOS DAC. This is really a starting point to be able to launch future DACs. And what that means is that we need to have things or tools which will allow people to do that. And that means we need codes that can organize a community and can organize governance of an organization or an entity. So in very basic terms, that you need is some way of the stakeholders voting for what they want to happen. You need some way of proposals and worker proposals to be put into idea concepts and developed and then put forward to be voted upon. So we are developing a number of tools which help these types of processes. So I mean, eventually we want to get to a point where it's plug and play, that you get your voting contract, you get your token contract, which can handle it maybe with membership things thrown in. You get your worker proposal set up, you get your how to monitor it, how to do your payouts, how to manage your vault and your funds. These types of things are going to be common problems for anyone setting up a distributed or autonomous community or corporation. So we want to create these tools that make it a less tricky technical job to do, so people can focus on the organization rather than the code.
Right. So you guys are building a suite of tools so that people can build DACs more easily, kind of like how Dan and Block One are building a suite of tools to help people like build their DApps more easily.
That's correct. And that's the thing, that we can't do it without EOS. We have to build it on top of EOS.
Right.
And EOS gives the basic foundation to do this. But instead of everyone building their own code from scratch, which is going to be complex for people, we're trying to develop some common patterns, some common contracts which will fit in there so that it will lower the barrier to people setting this along and get some common way of doing it. So rather like with DAO, one of the big problems there was that it was just all fresh code. It's all just new, untested stuff, and then actually problems occur. Whereas if we can get, and the thing, it's not supposed to just be about EOS DAC doing it. It's supposed to be a body and community initiative. It's been about us doing it for the start. But ideally, you get groups of people who start to audit. These are safe tools to run a DAC on or a DAO on.
And I think there's other block producers currently looking at the DAC model. I think one out of Korea. Do you know how many block producer candidates are going the DAC route currently?
Ooh, it's hard to tell. I think the one in Korea, if that's EOS, I'm not too sure about them. They seem to have cut and pasted a lot of stuff from the EOS DAC website, so I'm not sure about them. I know Higher Vibes, they've got a kind of similar-ish idea, I know, eventually, but that's going to be based more around a DAP. If we're successful in what we do, and if if it starts to look like a model which is working, then I'm sure that there are other organizations which will start to take it on, because it will be efficient. If we're having problems, then they probably won't. So in some ways, I think a lot of people are taking a wait and see approach.
Yeah, and so I've been really curious about the pros and cons of a DAC-based block producer model. For me as an entrepreneur, I tend to find that the main ingredients of finding the vision and the direction of a business is best in small groups. Mm-hmm. And then if you want to open up options for okay, this is the direction we're going. We have these 1, 2, 3 paths that we could get there. Now let's take a vote on it. Do you think that having too many cooks in the kitchen scenario may hamper the development or the direction of EOS DAC?
That's certainly something that is always a problem when you're looking at wide voting on issues. This is why we've introduced the custodian model, mm-hmm. where effectively it mimics a small team. So effectively, people will vote in 12 custodians into a stack, and there may well be subcommittees of particular areas. So, for instance, say marketing or block producing or other DAC setups. There might be small teams that are working on that. But the idea is not that everybody has a say in everything. There is some delegated ownership of, or dedicated decision making that's mimicking EOS in some way as well, because by just having complete liquid democracy, you do have a sort of more slow moving organization than what's required for this at this time.
Hey guys, we wanted to say thanks for coming on. We have another guest coming in from EOS Nairobi, and we just wanted to give them a spotlight because we didn't get them on before.
Great stuff.
Hey,
well,
thanks for having us on.
Talk to everyone.
Yeah,
thanks guys.
Yeah,
really appreciate it.
Kev Bluejays, thank y'all so much.
Thank you guys. Yeah, and hey, go EOS, right? Good luck in the next 24, 48 hours.
Yep.
And I'm
lovely GIF, by the way.
Oh,
yeah, it's amazing. And tomorrow I hope to see a better party shirt, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is the Chestahedron shirt, but they're talking about the for the EOS Price channel who's watching. Rob and Ash were talking about that meme you guys made of me dancing around, and this EOS Price channel made that. So, yeah.
And I actually saw Kevin making a big effort to increase his game today. So.
Yeah, for my dance.
All right.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
I'll see you guys tomorrow night.
See you guys.
Thanks. Yeah, Blue Jays, EOS Nairobi coming up shortly. They have a few new team members to introduce as well. Let's see what they say. Yeah, EOS DAC. I mean, it's certainly DACs are the long-term future. I think for EOS, I mean that's essentially what Block One is trying to promote. Well, not promote, but the software they're building can help build DACs, right? The first being EOS itself would be a DAC, and then you can build DACs on top of DACs, fractal DACs,
right?
Dactyls, pterodactyls.
Pterodactyls.
So,
and I like the custodian concept that they have. Like Rob said, they want to make more nimble organizations that can make decisions better. So that custodian concept is something that's very interesting.
I agree, and certainly, as Rob was saying very well, they don't have the full tool set to be able to do all the voting and everything right away. So the custodian model very important in the early going, and that way it can still be a DAC. And folks who really want to get involved with the DAC can get elected, right? They can gain those positions. And here comes EOS Nairobi coming in, and there's Josh.
Hey, Josh.
Is back.
Looks like
hey,
he's
Josh.
getting connected.
Hey, great to see you again.
Hey, great to see you too. How are things going?
Going well, yeah. It's early for us. I think, what is it, evening for you? What time is it over there?
Yeah, it's about almost 4, 10 minutes to 4.
10 minutes to 4 in Nairobi.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
And I heard you have
How's
some.
it going? Nice to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. I mean, we just been partying, straight through Blue Jays? Did we stay up all night?
So one of us did.
One of us did. Oh, Blue Jays. Do you want to talk about that? You know, you took one of those energy drinks and could not.
It was I picked straws and I got the shorter straw, so I had to keep up with the chats last night. Actually, that's not true. I just had an energy drink and I stayed up late.
And Josh, you have some new folks from Nairobi are coming on as well, right? Coming to see us.
Yeah, he's just about to join.
Cool.
Yeah,
we're excited.
Yeah.
Anyone we get to meet from Nairobi actually is pretty exciting to me. I keep telling everyone about your DAP that you mentioned yesterday with incentivizing the parents to send children to school. I just think that's amazing. So I think I've said that 3 or 4 times now. Blue Jays, just over and over. There he is, Akram.
Yeah,
hi, Kevin.
Akram.
Hi, Akram. Great to meet you.
Great to meet you too, Kevin.
And go ahead. How are you related to EOS Nairobi?
What happened is I'm actually a university student from Moy University, and what happened is I joined the community. I went for an event that was being hosted by the EOS community. It was one of the second meetups, and in the process, when I listened to the initiative they had and the issues we had as university students, I decided let me find out what's going on in the block so clearly, because I had heard of it, and from there I joined the research, I'd say, side of things. So far, we've been able to, I'd say, write a bit of articles, and also I joined a startup that has known as DLBRT that is focused on micro solutions, and one of them currently is a census initiative. We want to use something called a Nyumba Kumi initiative. It's trying to group people in groups of 10, and it was used. I had heard of it in Tanzania, so it's an East African thing, whereby you have 10 groups of people that know each other, and within these 10 groups of people, you have other 10 groups of people, and so the whole concept is trying to use data intuitive methods to count the number of people. So that's where I am right now, I'd say, as part of EOS Nairobi.
Wow, that's great. And yeah, and were you also at that party last night with Daniel and the crew?
No, I wasn't able to make it.
Okay, you're probably working hard and doing other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing, I think, Akram, your initiative ties in with the identity initiative. So they're looking at, because we have a census coming up next year, so we want to partner with the government and have those two sort of initiatives working concurrently, so that when people are sort of counted, they also get their information added onto the blockchain. And then from there on, everything from birth certificates to marriage certificates to pretty much every government based identity.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I'm just saying public record, yeah.
Yes, exactly. That is actually the word. Public records. Yeah, so we tie in the two, public records as well as census information. And that way, pretty much, if it goes well, this will be the last census we really need to do manually for a very long time.
Yeah, because the process is very tedious and we use so much of our resources, a lot of it. And so we were looking for, I'd say, a more advanced way of just doing the whole process. And with that, even with the EOS technology, we can be able to really, I'd say, improve and cut down on the costs. The main thing is the cost and time. We waste a lot of time. Yeah.
On the census itself.
Yes.
Yeah. How do you foresee it happening? Would it be like an app on a phone, or how would that work? They have to go to a booth in the town?
Okay, just in just a general overview, because the best people to actually address that type of question is like the whole team. So I need to find out if you'll be interviewing us tomorrow. I'll still give a general overview, but if you can be able to interview us tomorrow with I'd say DLBLT, I'd say team and all, and then we can really explain exactly how we're going to carry it, because there's a lot of technical details I'd like even for you to hear, so that you can assess and all. But the main thing I'd say in general is we were planning on making sure that we get groups of 10 people, and if it's going to be web and SMS based. That's the first thing, because the internet penetration in Kenya, even smartphone penetration, is very low. So we wanted it to be both SMS and web-based, but majorly SMS. So you log in, and then it asks you what your name is, and you just type in, and your number, majorly your number, and your identity number, like your ID. Everyone has an ID that has been registered in the public records in the it's called Huduma Center. It's one of the public, I'd say, buildings that just store data. So once you get in, you give in your details, you're incentivized to get other 9 people to get to register the records. And when you do that, there's a token, I'd say, program that's going to incentivize every person to get the other people, groups of 10. And from those other groups of 10, they get other groups of 10. So what happens is, if we can be able to incentivize people to gather data, we won't force them, because currently we have to go house to house. The government has to allocate a number of people to go to the various locations and then go to from house to house. And you find, if let's say I, as one of the government, I'd say, officers who've been told to go to a specific city and a location, and I don't know the language, that's a barrier to some extent. Or I'm not able to communicate well, and the people around there don't want me to get data on them. It becomes a problem. So we're looking for a data incentive way, so that every community within communities is like every community within the whole community, I'd say, you get what I'm saying? So every community is able to count itself. So the main thing is make it autonomous and not, it shouldn't be a forceful event. And then another thing is, when the results come out, we're looking at a period of less than a month. The results should be properly out, and they should be the actual results, and they shouldn't be, I'd say, politically influenced. So we wanted it to be completely clear, and that's where now EOS and the whole blockchain thing comes up, because once data comes on the app directly posts it on the blockchain. So that's what we had in mind. But in detail, I really wish if the whole team was able to address that question.
Well, it's hard to answer all the details right now too. And hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow. And if you want to bring some folks on, they can describe it. But it's great. Every time we talk to you guys about a new DApp, you always talk about the incentives, using incentives to motivate folks instead of force, right? Yeah. And that's one of the important tenets of EOS itself. That's what's hopefully in the Constitution, depending on what ends up in there. So it's great that you guys definitely seem like you're on the right path. You know exactly how to make an EOS DApp work, it seems. Also, what's happening for you guys tonight? What do you guys foresee for the next 24 hours, next day or so?
For the next 24 hours, actually, we have been, where our developers are in the process of helping launch the mainnet. So, yeah, we have been working on that. We were on EOS BIOS before, but we had sort of teething problems with that. So we moved on to Ghostbusters, and we are currently on Ghostbusters, and we're launching the mainnet off of that within hopefully the next 24 to 48 hours. Wow. So primarily that's what we're focusing on right now. Other than that, now past the 48 hours, we'll be now really setting up our incubator. We have an incubator setting up in the middle of Nairobi town. So we'll be setting that up with a company called TechnoBrain here in Kenya. So they've been generous with us, and they have lent us some space. So, and they're also very interested in EOS and its potential. So they want to see how EOS can really, come and revolutionize their industry. So that's what we're looking to. We want to partner with them. Maybe we can let me not say incentivize yet again. We're looking to train individuals on coding on the blockchain and see how we can partner with TechnoBrain as well as many other companies in really bringing the blockchain to Kenya and Africa as a whole.
Were you guys out with Daniel last night? Did you guys have some time with him at the party?
Sorry?
Well, I know Joshua wasn't there. Maybe Akram.
Oh, yeah. No, Akram was also not available. But the other time, we had a launch party.
Oh, you did?
Which was yeah, we had a launch party about a weekend ago. Yeah, and it was an amazing party. We had quite a high turnout, and that's when we signed the agreement with TechnoBrain and a couple of other stakeholders to make sure that we actually get this thing off the ground.
Right.
Yeah.
And we actually have David P. from the chat. He was asking about that sticker you've posted and the tattoo, EOS Nairobi tattoo. He wants one of those, he says. And actually, he may be coming on shortly to say hi to you guys if you want to meet him.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
One of these, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Right there.
Can you get that tattoo? Where can you get that done, you think?
Oh, yeah, here, right?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. He's coming on shortly. So have you guys met a lot of other folks from the community? I think I saw EOS Mediterranean down there.
No, we're still in the process of meeting more people. So this is a great platform for that, especially.
Well, here's David himself. He just popped in here. Hey, David.
Hey, David.
How you doing? I made an effort for you and went for the full branded gear today.
Nice.
Whoa, looking official.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. when you're actually wearing this, you actually look like you work for Block One. So maybe I'll take the hat off. There we go.
Just to be fully clear, David P does not work for Block One at all.
No, that's right. I speak for myself only. In a true Thomas Cox shelling type way.
But you're with EOS 42, London-based block producer. And have you met Josh and Akram before?
Actually, I haven't. I've met Daniel, but never these two. So no, it's great to meet you guys.
Hey, it's great to meet you too.
Yeah, it's such a big community now, isn't it? It's really very cool seeing how it's gradually grown over the last 6 to 8 months now, and I just can't wait for the launch.
When do you estimate that would be, David?
Am I allowed to give official comments or just my own on that?
Oh, you have official ones. Wow.
Has to be official.
I have a breaking news button here.
We have the collective mainnet launch group, but it's effectively a collective, isn't it? So no one person can speak for it. We build consensus when we publish out a statement. But I mean, the likes of Said from EOS Cafe have been completing verifications across all of the snapshots that have been taking place, and we've just been updating the community the last hour or so that six of those have completely reconciled, and I think in our view that is good enough, therefore, for us to proceed to the next stage, which is drawing a line under any further code updates in the new community managed mainnet EOS mainnet GitHub and launching first chain. So exciting.
Wow, that is exciting. So you're saying that the 5 plus the 1 independent is good enough, and
and don't forget, there's nothing to stop other people in the coming days also carrying out further verifications too. But when you get as many as 5 independent global snapshots, all perfectly reconciling 100%, that's a very compelling. So yeah, you have to ask the question: how many do you realistically have to go to before you would say that's probably accurate? And the answer is, for us, we thought 5. We've got 6 so far. EOS Asia's may have come in the since I've last checked, but again, everything's looking good. There was one minor discrepancy with another one, but it had 2 addresses different, but they used a different tool, so we think we understand why.
And as far as you're concerned, how are we with the governance aspect, the Constitution?
Yeah, there's been some hard work with that, having to restore back the certain aspects of the governance and the Ricardian contracts back into the community GitHub. So that's all been taking place over the last 24 to 48 hours. But otherwise, yeah, I think we're in good shape to launch with a workable governance that enables the chain to actually launch effectively. And the important thing for everyone to always remember is that we're here to effectively reach consensus on governance. So it doesn't matter who the individual or individuals are that may have other views. The way that we can then make changes is we propose them to the community, and we can vote on those changes. So the Constitution is always something that we can amend. It's about being a governed blockchain.
Oh, and how do you approve those changes? Do you know?
Well, how does the actual effective proposal and voting of that work?
Yeah, for governance, specifically changes.
Yeah, I must admit, I haven't actually seen that formally laid out yet as to exactly how that would work. I'd imagine Thomas would have some more detail on that.
Okay, cool. Hey, Daniel.
Hey, Daniel from EOS Nairobi just joined up. How you doing?
Hey, how are you doing, guys? Nice to see you today.
Hey, Daniel.
Hey, Bluejays. Hey, Josh. Hey, Kevin. It's a pleasure meeting you. Akram is here. Yes. Great to meet you, David.
Yeah, good to meet you too.
Yeah, sorry for joining late.
We'll be connecting on a meetup soon, I'm sure. It'll be really good.
Where will that meetup be? Are you going to meet in the middle somewhere between London and Nairobi?
I think the plan was that we were going to do a webinar into one of those. It's a fair old way between London and Nairobi, so we're not just going to pop over for a quick trip. But I would love to get out there at some point.
Hey guys, we're getting requests from the chat to do some disco and partying. Are you guys up for that?
Yeah. Who isn't, right?
All right, let's go. 3, 2, 1.
Oh yeah, this is how you do it, isn't it?
Yeah. For the folks that are watching.
I want my own meme as well, right? Everyone wants a Kevin meme now.
Yeah, see, we can't actually hear the music on our end. It only through
the we can.
So you just have to dance and hope it's the best possible, and it fits in with the music. So, great job, guys. Yeah, go ahead, Bluejays.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think you were really trying to top that meme from yesterday. I think you were going for it, weren't you, today, Kev?
I'm trying, Bluejays. I heard you're a better dancer than I am, and so I'm trying to work my way up here. I don't know what kind of moves should I do there, Bluejays. Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and looking forward. So, David, have you heard some of the DApps? EOS Nairobi has a bunch of DApps coming out that they're looking into and working on. Anything in particular that's stuck out to you? What are your thoughts?
You know, the thing is that I think actually globally there's so many BPs now working on some really exciting projects that I've ended up having to just immerse myself in what we're doing. And you know, I've seen some of what they've been talking about with relating to the things like the census, and it's all some really interesting stuff that can add massive value. But for me, actually, I just don't know enough about a lot of what other BPs have been working on for me to almost get into that. And I think this is what tends to happen when you get into any one project or area so much, because we've been working on Shintai for a while. And it's just become quite all-encompassing around everything else, with apart from the BP side of things as well. So, you know, I think actually it's more we're starting to look beyond that and try and work out what our big projects are going to be beyond that actually as well. So I think though you can just see the massive community value add that Nairobi have been bringing since the community was built up there quite early on. I mean, Ian Grigg went out, didn't he, as well, and had that really big first introductory meetup to try and help grow the community there, and it's been great to see.
It wasn't Ian Grigg who kicked everything off, Daniel? I think you mentioned him in the past too. When he came.
Yeah. We were very fortunate to host Ian Grigg here. I think it was about for a week or 2 weeks. He really introduced us to a lot of great stuff in the whole blockchain space, because we talked about a lot of things, including some of his previous work with Ricardian contracts and some of the works they were doing with the cypherpunks of the early days of the 90s. So that really got us interested in the whole space. And fortunately, he was here to talk about EOS as well. So we did a very quick meetup hosted by some of our friends at BitHub Africa. They are a blockchain incubator here in Nairobi as well. So they're the ones who got us the first space. We were about 10 guys who met Ian Grigg the first time, or I think a bit less. But then from that number, it has kept on growing and growing. So we always want to send tweets out and tag him so that he can see how the community is growing after he left it with very few guys.
Well, actually, Ian Grigg turned up as an unexpected guest at the EOS London event on the 1st of June, a couple of days ago. Oh, wow. So I ended up having a good catch up with him then, and it was I think he wanted to come along and really just see the moment of launch for EOS. You could see when he was talking about it that it was almost for him. I'm guessing it's a project he's been involved with for what, 18 months, maybe longer. And he said to me that there's just nothing stopping it now. Nothing can stop it now. It's got so much momentum that it's all just happening. And I told him how hard we were all working as on the BP side of things, and he just smiled and said, "Yep, so you should be." So, and I thought that's great. That's spoken like a proper token holder, there, isn't it? So you should be.
So he's given up on his dream of the Mac Minis. Is that right?
Okay. Yeah, he was enjoying plenty of the free beer that was on tap there. Being a Block 1 event, right? So.
Yes.
David, talk about Chintai and when you think that, how complex that project is as a whole, and when do you think that will be out for people to use?
I mean, it's one of those projects that, in one sense, it's relatively simple, but it could end up becoming very complex over time. So leasing itself is a relatively simple function. Ensuring it's got complete security around the contract, has another layer around it, and we're fine with that. We're integrating into scatter, so there's no concerns there from a security perspective around, you know, private keys and that kind of thing. We have effectively completed all of the underlying coding of the leasing contract and engine itself. Steve Floyd of EOS Tribe has done the entire front end interface as well. So we're literally starting to hook the two up now, so that you can use it as a completely usable interface. And at that point, we really need to make something of a judgment call around the EOS mainnet itself, because we need to make sure it's reasonably stable too. I mean, I think it's realistic to assume that we're going to see further code updates coming out, and even once the mainnet launches, we'll probably be obviously making some upgrades ourselves to ensure we continue enhancing its stability. And we'll pick a date. I mean, provisionally, we're in for about the middle of June at the moment for the Shintai launch. So we'll just adjust it depending on how effectively our own internal testing goes as well. I mean, it's been tough as well, because it's been built by a team of volunteers, community volunteers, and most of them are not even, you know, BPs related either. So these are guys giving up a lot of their own time to do this.
And of course, the people who have pledged to contribute to it, if they do get elected as BPs, are they thinking of funding it as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way it will work is that I think realistically, any of the BPs that make the top 21 are going to be in the best position to then become long-term sponsors of it, and they will sponsor the ongoing running costs, which is not actually as bad as it sounds, because block producers actually need to carry and build a healthy reserve of tokens anyway. You know, it's to insulate them from pricing shocks and to ensure they've got funds available to invest into the scaling of the network and all sorts of other things. And so as such, it's a case of actually staking tokens to Shintai to enable it to function and run as an application. If you think about it, that's how any DAC works. So it's not a particularly difficult one to fund the ongoing running costs of a DAP in that sense from a BP perspective, because you just stake some of your reserves. But what they'll also be doing is facing off to the community committee that's going to run Shintai as well, which will be making enhancement proposal requests. And it will be a case of then funding that on an ongoing basis and a dev team.
So it sounds like not only they'll be the creator, but they'll also be a client.
In effect, yeah.
Actually, we met Tyler last night. He was at the Atlanta party.
Yeah, I thought I saw someone sent me a screenshot that Tyler was in there. Tyler has got a brain the size of a small planet, I was saying to somebody. One of the biggest reasons he's on the team is that when we are about to start the incredibly complex coding work relating to algorithmic execution, which is this idea of matching up hundreds of potential orders on either on buys or sells like you get on exchanges, he knows how to do this. Because I certainly don't, but I understand the concept. So Tyler's going to be very active in the coding space on that side.
And he's working it's voluntary work. Is there some way we can get him funded?
Well, and that's exactly what will happen post-launch. So the BPs will be able to then provide funding for the dev team and the management side of it as well, and so that we have an actual effective professional team that can work on this full time. Because what's going to happen is that although the leasing market is likely to be very slow early on, it's going to gain momentum. I think we talked about this a long time ago, and as it does, so the expectations from the community in terms of performance and types of leasing will probably increase with it.
Well said. Yeah. And Akram and Daniel and Josh, do you guys have any comments? Have you read about Shintai? You guys familiar with the leasing? Basically, you can rent out your tokens to gain more tokens with Shintai, hopefully. Is the long-term goal.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we spoke with David. I think he introduced us a bit to Shintai. He had asked us to collaborate with him, but that was way early. We had not even gotten to look that much into the code. I think now that we have our incubator up and running, we'll be able to have a few guys looking into the code and contributing to that project moving forward. So I hope there's still space for collaboration, David.
There's always space for collaboration with everything, isn't there? I mean, that's what's making the EOS community so beautiful. I mean, I don't really see it as any one project should be the property of any individual or any individual VP or anything like that. There's a tendency, I think, for all of us to want to just own it and say, "Oh, this is mine," and look at this. But actually, it becomes so much stronger if we share it and bring in as many people as we possibly can. EOS is the best example of that, so we should all learn from it. And yeah, absolutely. If you want to get involved, please do.
All right, sure. So I think because we made a call out to guys for our incubator, I think should be starting after launch, so towards mid-June, thereabouts. So we're going to have some developers who are going to be coming in to the incubator. We're going to run a training program. So hopefully we'll have guys from the teams that were part of developing the software, EOS software, coming in and helping us with the training. Yeah. Then after that, now we'll have people contributing to these projects that are out there, like the one that David is telling us about today, Chintai. Hopefully, now after that, we'll now be able to do stronger collaborations between us and other communities out there from the code perspective.
And we mentioned briefly about that new, you're working with the blockchain incubator, and you just put that through recently. I believe it was your last meetup a few days ago. And we also have Yarb just checked in as well from HorusPay. We have a full party here. Everybody's welcome to either stick around, or if you have to go, feel free to sign off. But Daniel, can you just briefly talk about the incubator program that you guys started up?
All right. So we were very fortunate to have had a community that grew so fast, and it grew to be quite a force here in Nairobi. So we managed to get a lot of people who were interested in space. Josh and Akram were part of two teams that had gone before a government task force that is in charge of blockchain and artificial intelligence. And they had made presentations on different projects that they are working on. So the obvious thing would be that these teams needed somewhere to be housed. They needed somewhere where they could show up every day to be working on their project so that it comes alive. We also needed to have a place where people could learn how to build dApps on EOS. People could learn how to interact with the main EOS software. And that's how the incubator came to be alive. So we launched the incubator with our founding partner, a technology company based here in Nairobi, headquartered in Nairobi. It has actually really grown into very many countries. So it's in about 25 countries right now. And the idea of having this incubator was to build teams from our community so that we not only have a strong community around EOS, but a strong developer community that can also collaborate and provide value to the main EOS ecosystem. So right now we have a couple of teams. In fact, the funniest thing is that we are also getting applications from outside of Kenya. So before I joined this call, I was on a call with a team from Singapore. They're also interested in coming into our incubator. So we are just looking at how we would be able to work together with those guys. There's also a team from London, where David is, that is looking to come and do a couple of things here. Although their project is targeted to the African market, I think it would be quite important for them to work from the ground here. One of our community members in charge of technology is called George. I traveled to Ireland to meet another team there as well that is doing an energy project. And they also wanted to come and launch from our incubator here. So we are getting a lot of positive attention after we launched the incubator. It's also demanding for us to increase our pace and the rate at which we are doing things here. So far, so good. Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, as you mentioned before, Nairobi is sort of up and coming. And I mean, you mentioned how it missed the last technological revolution in some ways because computers were not widely adopted. But now mobile is huge, and looking forward, blockchain will be tremendous. So it's fun to hear these kind of things. And Yarb, how you doing, man? You looking a lot of sun there. You had trying to take care of your eyes.
You bet. I'm outside. I'm in beautiful Miami, so I'm enjoying the weather here. It's very nice. So yeah.
What's new down there? What's been going
on? I'm here for some to visit my family and things like that. But there's always a lot of things going here in Miami, and then also taking the opportunity to meet with one of our advisors. His name is Evelio Medina, and then he's the head of the Chamber of Commerce in Miami Brickell. He's a very business guy, well connected, and it's great to have him on our team. He's coordinating the Americas Blockchain Summit. It's one of the links that I shared with you, with a lot of emphasis on EOS. And he wants to bring dApps, block producers, you name it, to the Blockchain American Summit. And then he's going to have all Americas, LATAM, all the Spanish countries. We're tapping into all those countries. There's a lot of potential. We want to bring everybody together here in Miami. So that's happening in November, last week of November, and the first week of December. So yeah, make sure you know everybody that is interested in being in that event. That is has a big portion about EOS and dApps and things like that. Make sure you visit the website and connect with us if you're interested in being there. So yeah, that's something I wanted to talk about. The other thing that I want to talk about is that I just opened a channel for Spanish speaking countries. So and I'm sharing this channel everywhere. It's a Telegram channel. So if you're interested in learning about HorusPay and what we're doing and our mission, and then you speak Spanish, please stop by and say hi, ask questions and things like that. So yeah, in a nutshell, those that haven't heard about us, we're NerdJob. It's an access token for a global payroll portal that allows companies and vendors to connect directly on this portal. So,
guys, we just heard the word airdrop. We might as well do a disco, right? I mean, let's party. Here we go.
Bet, let's do it.
How are the moves, Bluejays? Am I getting better?
Yeah.
David P, I didn't see him move at all. He was just like, nope, not doing this.
Sorry, I was doing something else. I was not paying attention.
That's okay. You know what? And disco, you don't always have to be all the way there. You just have to let yourself be free in the moment. Probably, right?
No, I was just the geek standing in the middle of the dance floor, wasn't I? Just not knowing what to do. That was it.
You really got off in the corner. Okay. Yarib, have you met David P from EOS 42 in London? And then we got Daniel from EOS Nairobi and Akram and Josh. Everybody's here.
I see. We have a full house. I haven't met David. David, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, thanks. No, we have not connected before.
Yes, very.
Oh,
very
man,
nice
Miami looks good in the background.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very nice here.
Man.
Yeah, David, Yarib is working on a dApp called HorusPay. It's a payroll app, dApp, that looks to fix some of the inefficiencies behind payroll software.
Gotcha. Sounds very, very useful potentially. So, I mean, this is what's so exciting, isn't it, about EOS? We're building an operating system where creativity is the only limit, and I love that. That really is the truth now. It's about the people's imagination and then executing it effectively, and we're going to see some so exciting things, I think, over the next year especially.
Yeah, it's very exciting, David. I had this idea for a little while, and then it just hasn't been. There is not a platform that would allow me to build this in any other way before. But with EOS, it's now possible. So we're very excited to work on this project and bring this to the blockchain, and also to the payroll community that is desperately in need of a solution to connect international payroll vendors with clients directly. So yeah, and also in the future we want to expand our ecosystem. So we're building first the platform that allows for cryptocurrencies, payroll disbursement, things like that. But we're also planning in the future if we have the opportunity to, to do applications such as time cards, for example. And this is, for us here in the U.S., you may think, oh, there's not a need for that, but trust me, internationally, there is a big need for time card applications, and it's not that hard to tweak and accommodate to a different country. So yeah, it's a big deal, and we're very excited to bring these payroll solutions to the blockchain.
Great. Have you got a Telegram group as well that you can stick in the comments later on as well? I'd definitely like to.
Absolutely. I have a Telegram group.
I actually believe you guys are going to be down next week in Tulip together.
We are.
Oh yeah. Man, everyone's going to Tulip.
Right. So I knew you were going, David, and I know Yarab was going. So
this is good. I'm looking forward to this. Actually, it's going to be a really interesting meeting. So many people that I've spoken to before. And are you going as well, Bluejays?
Yeah, I'm going to be there.
Excellent. Fantastic.
Right.
Wow. I'll see you next week. It's not often I've been able to say that before. Wow.
Yeah, if I don't party till I drop, I'll be there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what's going to happen too? All the BPs that are there, some of them are going to be happy and some are going to be very sad, aren't they? That's how it's going to work. It's just the way of things. So
that's the way we describe it too. There'll be a lot of free agents here shortly coming up. So yeah, and that's great though, actually, for a lot of folks, a lot of teams, because there's so much opportunity out there, as you were just talking about. I mean, it's really can't lose, but
No, exactly. Doors of opportunity are opening everywhere.
I had a question for Yarab. Yarab,
okay.
Your platform, is it going to have any elements of like private sort of elements to it? Because I'm wondering about the clients, like the people who are getting paid at the end of the day. Are they going to have to submit all of their data onto the platform, or how much of their data is going to be publicly available, and how much of it is going to be sort of held back?
Great question. So we're not uploading any confidential payroll data on the blockchain. That's a decision that we made. And due to that, the companies are very new to blockchain, and we want to introduce them to blockchain in a safe way. So we're getting the best of everything of the world out there, and then so we're using a database, regular database for the data, and the database will be protected with a layer of the blockchain. So you will not be able to access the database without the private keys. When you put username, password, company, and then you put your private keys, then the interface will go to the blockchain register that you have X amount of tokens that you have access to that, and then we'll give you access to the database. But the database itself, the data is not hosted on the blockchain, and due for those reasons, because it's confidential data, is very, very sensitive. We're talking here social securities, bank accounts, so it's very sensitive. So for now, until we have a very, very a better solution, we're going to use the old school database.
Okay, I think that answers the question quite well. Yeah, that's what I was wondering about the social security and all that.
Yes, we thought about that, and then so yeah, we're doing the key management on the blockchain, just because the blockchain is perfect for this. Every users have different rights and different rights to modify data on the platform. So yeah, the blockchain would allow us to secure that data in a very strong way. So yeah, we're very excited to implement that, and yeah, that's the model for the data, especially now that personal and private data and confidential data is a very sensitive topic. So we want to protect that and also give the users the ability to delete data from our database permanently, and having it on the blockchain will not give us the opportunity to offer that.
Nice. Yeah, and something that interests me too is token economics, designing a token that it will provide some incentive for users and so on. I mean, how do you go about learning how to make a good token? Where does that information come from?
So our token model is to connect the headcount of a company to make a relation to the token. So that allows for us to sort of, because we know that the bigger the headcount of a company, the bigger the data they're going to use, especially for payroll. So if you have 2,000 employees versus 200, a company with 200 employees don't use as much data as a company with 2,000 because they're reporting more changes to the payroll, and they're making more changes, and they use way more data. So because of that relation, then we said, okay, let's do an access token. An access token that allows the companies to say, hey, I have 500 employees, so I have 500 tokens. And then, so when you're logging in, it's verifying your funds and verifying that you have that amount of tokens, and then it gives you access to the portal for the amount of data that correspond to that amount of tokens. So it's an access token with that utility in mind. And also with utility in mind that we want this token to be stakeable, because we want to help companies, especially startup blockchain companies, to pay in a way for payroll services. So those international payroll vendors that are coming on board come with their agreement that they're willing to exchange payroll services in exchange of the Horus dollar that is minted from the Horus token. So we're hoping to help those startup companies to grow internationally and globally.
Wow, I think I like that question, Kevin, and Jared, you've answered it quite well. I think that there is an actual need for people to have like a central source of information on how they can actually launch these tokens. What are the right token metrics to have so that your project is both very relevant and solves a need, and the communities out there can actually see that they can support you if they either get in through an airdrop or they get in through different rounds. I don't know if there's a standard, but we might probably have to create one, like a standard model for people to learn, or a resource for people to learn how to run some of these projects, how to do the tokens, how to do all that economics. Probably,
right. Yeah, well, we're obviously. Yeah, we're thinking into putting some really good how-tos once we have our portal up and running in beta. So people, small companies, and everybody that is interested in using the portal, they learn how to navigate. We are going to use some of the. We're going to be very similar in our portal UI is going to be similar to some of the popular ones out there for payroll. So that way we're hoping to be user friendly, and so for those payroll specialists that are used to they've used those portals before, they immediately know how to navigate ours. So we're thinking everything here in terms of adoption.
Yeah, and we posted up the Telegram links for the HorusPay into the chat as well, so folks who are trying to keep up, because when this token airdrops, everybody will have a lot of questions. So go ahead and preempt that by just jumping in the Telegram now, and there's different languages for Spanish and English and so on. So I guess we are hopefully going to see a lot of you guys tomorrow. We are moving forward to our next guests. They're coming in hot, but thank you everybody for joining us as well. It's been a fun segment having you guys interact from all around the world.
It was a pleasure talking to all you guys.
Take it easy.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Have a good day. Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, that was. I love when everybody just is on the chat together. asking each other questions and sharing information. It's amazing. I mean, that to me is the power of a community, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
And of course, some of us will solve problems that others want to be solved as well too. So
absolutely, there's a lot of us have seen stuff with blockchain that would work really well. Hey, Sharif.
Hey guys.
Hey, from EOS Dublin.
That's it.
Hey, Sharif, how are you?
Hey, Bluejays, how's things? Good.
Doing well. I heard you're in the middle of something. Can you elaborate? Maybe it's something really important. I have a breaking news button here I could stand using,
Yeah, we were just trying to decide what we're going to have for lunch.
Oh, darn it.
It's
for lunch.
critical.
Do we have a decision? Is there breaking news on the lunch?
Not yet.
Okay. And Damien, hello from AcroEOS.
Hey, nice meeting you, Kevin.
Great to meet you.
Hey, Damien.
You're a little low, a little hard to hear.
Hello. Okay,
That's
I'm
better.
going to pick it up like this. How's this?
It's better.
Better?
Excellent. Yeah.
All right.
Where are you based out of?
I'm actually based on Korea. You were at Korea, but I was at Shanghai at that time, so I did not have a chance to meet you in person. So, yeah.
You're based right in Seoul?
Yeah. I think most of the Korean VPs are based on Seoul. Yeah.
That's
it's
awesome.
really centralized.
Centralized in South Korea. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything is in Seoul. Yeah.
Can you give us a little background on AcroEOS?
Oh, yes, of course. So as I mentioned, we're Korean-based block producer candidate, and our basis is actually financial technology company. And what we do, our parental company is called like ICB right there. Can you see it?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, barely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So ICB is financial technology company, which is expert in payment on cross-border retails and payment and remittance. So what AcroEOS is trying to do is that as a payment company background, we know how to deal with the financial servers. And our priority goal of block producing is securing the network. So that's our first priority. And after that, what we're trying to do is that we want to provide a open API solution to these dApps and wallet and exchanges, giving them a solution where they can actually adapt to real world problems. So you can actually think of it as like a middleware. We want to give a middleware solution.
A middleware solution, okay.
Yes.
Yep.
So in middleware, you could think of it differently, but what I'm trying to say is that when people use the blockchain for the first time, it's quite hard.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
giving them like more user-friendly interfaces and pipelines, I think it will help bring the EOS ecosystem to the next level. And that's what we want to do as a block producer.
Nice. Yeah, that's great. We always talk about grandma, poor grandma trying to get involved with blockchain. And yeah.
Actually, we actually had offline classes with a bunch of Korean grandpas setting up their EOS key registrations.
Wow, that's awesome.
It was some like amazing experience because I never thought like there were like a bunch of Korean grandpas really into blockchain. Well, basically they don't know much about the technology, but they're really interested on it. So yeah, I was having fun teaching them how to set up the key registration on their Mainnet wallet.
Got to start somewhere, definitely. And have you met Sharif from EOS Dublin before?
Not really. Have I met you on the Shanghai? No?
No, haven't been to Shanghai. Hope to get there sometime.
Nice meeting you, Sheriff.
Hey, guys.
And Sharif, are you in the bunker right now? Where are you?
Yeah, we're in the bunker. We've been held out in here now for about 3 days. So.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. What is that? What is that bunker? What exactly is going on here?
It's very kind of James Bondy. It's
wow.
It's pretty cool.
That's the war room. That's max security, right?
That's it.
Wow.
Sharif, what are you hearing? How is things looking?
Good. Let me just try and mute the other call that's going on. Hang on 1 second. I'll be back to you.
Yeah. So obviously, Kevin, I was hearing something in the background there, so maybe he wants to disconnect there.
Yeah, something that was important. Okay. Damien, what are you seeing on your end in terms of the launch itself? How are things looking out in South Korea?
In South Korea, everyone is just waiting for the launch. Many people are really confused because many people thought that at 7 o'clock in Korean time, the mainnet will just appear. So lots of Korean block producers are teaching Korean community that it's not just an easy process. There is a process that each block producers and mainnets has to take. So now that people are really understanding the procedure, that it's not going to launch right away, but maybe within like 48 hours. So yeah, people are really excited. Yeah.
So I can give you a little bit of insight. So at the moment, the big focus is on validation. So there's a lot of block producers working together to come to a consensus of, how do we validate that this chain is ready to be a mainnet? And that's what the focus of all of the teams are currently. A lot of work has been done on the snapshot of the ERC20 tokens, and I can confirm that we've had 5 block producers in consensus that the snapshot is correct, and also some independent consensus. So we're happy that we've got a good snapshot to work on. And next steps is just to get this chain up, tested, validated, and launched.
So you are pretty happy with that number so far in terms of enough have reached consensus?
Yeah, I'm well, for us here in EOS Dublin, we're happy that the snapshot is good. So we're on to the next stage.
So Thomas Cock gave his estimate of 48 hours for the chain to be up. But what's your estimate, Sharif?
Are we doing overs or unders on that?
Yeah. What are you going to think?
I'd say under 48 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, I like that.
Under 48 hours. Very nice. Maybe we'll still be doing the show, Bluejays. I mean, we thought we'd have to do it for a full week or so because we so.
Are you guys getting any sleep?
A little bit. No, Bluejays. Yeah. What happened to you, Bluejays? Explain.
Well, I had one of those energy drinks. You know those 5-hour energy drinks?
Ah, okay.
Yeah. For me, it was like 15-hour energy drink. So I stayed up there.
Guys, we have a lightweight over here. And Damien, so AcroEOS, where's your war room right now? Is it right behind you or?
Yeah, right behind me.
Yeah?
Since I'm not the tech guy. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So in the back, there are our IT guys. And since I'm not the tech guy, I'm serving a bunch of coffees and energy drinks at the moment. So that's my priority job.
Sounds good. Yeah. And Bluejays can recommend a couple, it sounds like, in terms of which ones will be most effective.
Very good. So what are you guys looking forward to? Sharif, what are you looking forward to?
It's a beautiful day here in Dublin, so I'm hoping that we manage to get this validation testing done, and myself and Sam can go out and have a drink. But we'll let's see how it goes. It's I suppose it's fantastic. Everybody's been working so hard, and just to get to today, I think is a massive achievement. The work, I suppose, just to say, the work going on in the background between BPs and the coordination and the cooperation has been outstanding. It's been an absolute privilege to be part of this project up until now. So I just want to put that out there.
And you're talking about validation above and beyond the snapshot verification and above.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, everybody's thinking, what checks do they need to do on the chain so that as EOS Dublin, we're happy to put our hands up to say, look, this is a contender for mainnet, and see if we can open it up and get to that 15%.
So that would be the system contracts.
System contracts, checking some user balances, that type of thing. Yeah.
Cool.
Exactly, making sure that the constitution is what people have been working on for so long. There's been a lot of work on that.
Great. Thanks, guys, for checking in.
No problem.
Yeah. Good luck with the lunch decision, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you want to pop back on and let us know, I have a breaking news button here I could always use.
Good. Okay, good to know. Cheers, guys. Thanks for everything you do.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sharif.
Thanks, Sharif.
I'll drop off. Cheers. Bye.
Yeah, thanks, Damien. And where can folks keep up with you, Damien, with AcroEOS?
Right now, it's pretty much the same for every other VP. Like, they're just waiting for the validations to be complete, and some of them are just checking out if there's any missing parts that someone did not forget. So everyone is just being in part, communicating with each others and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you guys have like, should folks keep up with AcroEOS on Twitter, or where are some good places for like the community members to learn more about you guys? The website?
Actually, we are more active on the Steemit, but we're starting on to put more stuff on the Medium and the Twitter.
You're starting to see that maybe, or go ahead.
But most of our information is in our website, which is AcroEOS.io.
Okay, good deal. And actually, we were just talking with Eosis earlier, and they were talking about, we wanted to bring up the South Korean sort of innovation and the amount of investment and enthusiasm and passion for EOS in general in South Korea. Can you sort of describe the sentiment there and what you're seeing?
Well, the sentiment has changed a lot. I invested on EOS from the very first ICO, and back then in Korea, everyone was really hot on Ethereum. And if I were to talk about the EOS, everyone was really not happy about the EOS. But ever since that EOS has enlisted on Bithum on like December last year, the sentiment has just changed. The community has grown so fast, and everyone is now starting to understand what's going to happen after this mainnet is going to launch. And AcroEOS is being really great part of educating the Korean community about how the EOS is going to change the blockchain ecosystem.
Damien, you mentioned that. So can we say from an objective point of view that that's real? Like we could just be EOS fanboys, right?
No, I mean, I truly believe, like, ever since the first ICO, like, yeah. But I can tell you that there is a growing community in Korea, and it's huge.
Okay.
That's great to hear. Yeah, that's really awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. It's great to meet you. I have to say, I love your logo too.
Thank you.
Yeah, very well designed, and we look forward to hearing more from you guys.
Okay. I'll keep in updated on our media. Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah, are you coming back? We're gonna see you again.
Yeah, whenever I have a chance, I guess.
Okay, sounds
All
good.
right.
Thanks, Damien.
See you guys.
It was a pleasure.
Damien. Yeah, Bluejays. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So I basically asked that question because I kind of feel the same thing too, but I just kind of wanted to see what he was basing it on. You know. We've seen a lot of momentum come over to this side, and you just, like Nathan James said a few shows ago, he has a feeling of a lot of dApps coming, and it's just things are just going to get really big here. So that's always good to know.
Always good to know. Yeah, it's fun to hear these things, and of course, like you said before, you know, the block producer focus has been all we've been thinking about for a while now, all the way up to launch, but it will turn over to the dApps very soon. And there will be all kinds of innovation, new ideas, things we haven't even thought of. It'll be very interesting. Of course, we'll be learning about token economics and dApp governance and all kinds of new different topics.
Right.
A lot more than we could ever learn about from Nano. Remember the peer-to-peer payment system that we're talking about? We turn it over to the Nano show and we just talk about, I sent you some money, you sent some money back.
Right.
But we're building, it's basically a whole new digital commonwealth, you could call it, right? Just all the different aspects that go into what we're seeing here.
And Kevin, I mean, we've done on EOS Radio, we've done a ton of BP interviews. So if you guys are wanting to know more about your BPs, that's a great place to research them. You can check our YouTube channel for all the videos that we've done over the months.
Absolutely, yeah. And if you have a favorite block producer or some that you want to catch up on, you can probably find an interview with them, with us, back in the last couple months or so. We've had a lot of folks on. It's really fun. It's excellent to be able to hear directly from the block producer candidate, see them in person, understand what they're going for and what their interests are, learn about their why, as we've heard. I think that's really important. And we're honored, Bluejays, I think, that we are able to just talk to everybody, really.
Yeah.
It's been fun. It's been a good ride. We have EOS Nation coming up and EOS Gravity as well. They're both coming up.
Oh,
and
great.
So EOS Nation is based out of Canada and EOS Gravity is in Shanghai, China. And I believe Yves might actually be over there in China right now. I don't know what part or where. He's been all over the place. We've seen updates. What do you know about Yves? Where is he?
I guess he's been on a tour. Yves LaRose, that is, of EOS Nation. He's been on a tour of China, Shanghai, and some other stops. He's been there for about 3 weeks, I believe. So, of course, we're familiar with him from back when we did his interviews. Speaking of interviews with him and his team, Denny and Daniel from Toronto. So they're great. And he on our video had this huge beard and a toque on, and right now he has no toque and no beard, so he's just gonna look way different. And speaking of which, here he is.
There he is, Yves LaRose. Oh yeah. Did we get? Did you hear it? Did you know?
I don't hear any music.
Oh, wait, you don't have to. You just have to imagine it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoa, he's killing it! Oh my gosh, we're in trouble, Bluejays.
Yeah, but I can't do it like you do it, Kevin. It's just awesome. When I saw that meme, I was like, you're set.
So wait, you're saying I'm a better dancer than Bluejays?
I'm saying I saw your meme before I saw Bluejays' meme. I still haven't seen
His is classic. Kevin's is classic.
Yeah, thank you.
Although there is something cool behind Bluejays, I'm not sure what it is, but
it's
that's
my man
awesome.
cave sign.
Nice.
He's gone all out.
Yves, talk about what you've been doing, man. What are you doing down there, or up there, or over there, wherever?
Let me see if I can actually do this. So I'm on Wi-Fi right now, and the Wi-Fi in China is not exactly stable. Where I am, I'm gonna try to bring you outside. So I am in China. For those of you who don't know, I've been in China for almost 2 weeks now. I'm gonna try to show you guys. I'm on the 28th floor of a crazy high-rise in Chengdu in China, where our ambassador Martin lives.
Wow. Please be careful. It looks dangerous out there.
It does look. I'm afraid of heights. If you've been following my blogs, my vlogs, I don't like heights. So the first time I came here and I had to do my laundry and hang it outside, it was pretty freaky.
Did you lose any laundry? Did your underwear fly across the...
No. And that's what scares me. So even when I'm just wringing it, I feel like, what happens if it flies off? I'm like, it doesn't matter. Freaking shirt, who cares? But that feeling inside of me, it's like, oh no.
Decentralize your laundry.
Yeah, I got to decentralize my laundry.
Yves, so you talk about your tour. You've been all over the place, giving speeches and talking to everybody, meeting the whole world. It seems like. What is going on over there?
That's the idea. So I'm hoping that my colleague Steph joins in. The idea was that I wasn't stealing his spot. He was supposed to talk. So I'll speak until he gets in. So I am in China, and the idea is for EOS Nation, we've been really trying to set up this global community. This is what we've been doing from the beginning. We've been trying to build bridges. And one of the gaps that we saw, especially in the channel, is because a lot of us are in Telegram and the Asian communities in WeChat. So there's a clear divide as to where the people are doing most of the work. And it's really difficult for Asians to log into Telegram. So just to give you an idea, like some applications I need my VPN, some I don't need VPN, sometimes the VPN goes down. So it's really tricky for people. And I started seeing a lot of comments that were really negative. I really didn't like it. And because I had that connection to Asia before, I thought, why not head out to China, build those bridges? We already have those connections with a lot of terrific VP candidates that we've been working on projects with. Why not? And we started getting all these invitations. Why not go and meet them and do a vlog and kind of show people that there's people all around the world that have the same intent and the their heart is at the same place for this ecosystem and this community that we're trying to build. So 2 weeks, a week and a half after we just had this idea, I got my visa, I was in on the plane, and I've been touring in China ever since. And we planned an event in Shanghai in less than 48 hours. And it was just terrific. We had 6 BPs, so including us, we were 7, show up. We did a BP panel, and then we had about 200 or so people show up at the event. And it was a really, really, really great feeling just to see the community come together. We were doing it in Chinese, we were doing it in English combined. The questions, the level of questions as well. Like some people think that the people out west or out east, they just don't know what they're talking about. And the level of questions, people know what they're talking about. People really, really know what EOS is, and they really have an idea very, very similar to ours as to what they want EOS to be. So we wanted to show that. So I've been in China now for 10 days, 11 days. We're now preparing a second event that we're going to be hosting an official moonlight party on June 5th. We're actually trying to get you guys on. I'm trying to get you guys to extend your show by 1 day so that we can do a live Bluejays and Kevin in China during an official party. And if we're lucky, it'll actually coincide with the launch.
Oh, wow.
Whoa. And what time would that be? Right about this time tomorrow? Or,
so it would be in 2 days. So we're Sunday right now. So it'd be Tuesday at 7. But let's say it's 10 for you guys right now?
It's 10, yeah.
We could put you on. We would be flexible. We could put you guys on at 9 a.m. Is that reasonable?
Oh, wow. Bluejays, I'm ready. Are you ready?
Well, what day is that?
This is in 2 days. So is it Sunday morning for you guys? So this would be Tuesday morning.
Yeah, could probably do something like that.
Do a couple of 5-hour energy drinks and you'll be ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't I read that Bluejays has never had a coffee in his life or an energy drink in his life, and you just muddy the waters?
Let's welcome Stefan to the chat first off, guys.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I've never had one of those little 5-hour things. I don't know if you get them in Canada.
Had one of those either. So did it keep you awake? Does it work?
Yeah, it didn't let me go to bed, man.
Did it mess with your stomach?
It did all kinds of stuff.
We don't want to know the full story, it sounds like. Stefan, how you doing, man? What's going on over there?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
What's new? So you're not in China right now, right?
No, I'm in Montreal. Just came back from touring Western Canada, actually. I was in Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, meeting a ton of people from the blockchain community, hosted some meetups out there, made a bunch of new friends, educated a lot of people on what EOS is all about. And yeah, it's been awesome. So now I'm back in Montreal, still trying to finalize. I moved into a condo recently, haven't had time to set everything up, and then going to San Francisco in a few days for a Tulip conference.
Oh.
So very, very busy out here, very fun adventures so far.
I don't think anyone's ever heard of the Tulip Conference, so can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so it's my first time going to San Francisco, so pretty excited about that. We're actually staying at one of our potential ambassadors' place, actually, last minute change. So I've been running the ambassador program for EOS Nation, at least taking care of most of it. We're up to 13 ambassadors now that are located all across the world. We have some in Canada, United States, Guatemala, Germany, Kosovo, Ukraine, China with Martin, Colombia, England, and we're in the process of onboarding more ambassadors. It's been really fun. So this weekend I've been pretty busy, communicating with these ambassadors because they're coming to us with a lot of questions from their own local communities that they've been managing, right? So there's been a lot of not misinformation, but let's say a lot of launch parties on June 2nd that we're expecting something else than what happened. Yeah, overall it's been a very interesting weekend, and looking forward to the next few days.
Seems like Canada's not good enough for you guys, huh? You had to go all over the world.
Well, see, the advantage, Bluejays, is that right now EOS Nation has 24/7 coverage.
Oh, that's so good. Follow the sun.
Go to bed.
That's right.
I wake up. And so right now we're covering the channels as much as possible. And yet there's a lot of work being done. And so it really gives us a chance to be able to cover all around.
That's true for your operational 24/7 coverage. That's right.
Yeah, for sure.
Bluejays, before Eve came on, he requested we do disco ball multiple times, and we must make sure we do that. Let's do some disco, huh?
Where's the music? I gotta introduce the world. So I gotta introduce the world to Martin. So Martin is our ambassador located in China, and Martin is hard at work.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Martin. Great to see you.
He's doing these guys. And so because EOS Nation wants to be an educational hub, we've got these flashcards that this was Martin's idea. So this is the magic of ambassadors. Came up with the idea of flashcards. On one side, you've got a word, for example, blockchain with a little definition. And on the back side, you got the Chinese equivalent. And so we give these out whenever we're doing meetups in China, and it just gives information for people. Super simple. This is the power of ambassadors. And this is Martin.
Nice to meet you. Go EOS!
Go EOS. Yeah, those flashcards look great. That's a good idea. Love it. Yeah, so
still no disco music. Top K-pop. Where's the music? Come on.
So you got to watch the live stream. You go back and watch it. Yeah.
That's why hear it in here.
It gets injected into it. You know, it gets. There you go. There you go. Now you're feeling it. Now you're feeling it.
So you got to match the music. Right?
Exactly. Yep. See, now you see why we look so bad on stream. We look like bad dancers, but actually we're really good dancers. Clearly, we just can't hear the music. That's the problem.
Nice.
So
good save.
You need some skills to be able to dance without the music. So you guys clearly, both of you have clearly have skills.
We've been working on those skills all weekend. Yeah. So what's new with you guys? What's coming up in the next couple weeks for you guys? Other than your Tulip conference, and what do you see for the launch? I mean, let's do some launch speculation here. Why not?
Hopefully everything goes well. You know, our tech, Denis, is hard at work making sure we're launching the network properly. I'm not too familiar with all the technical details. You know, I leave that up to him. I would like to actually give a shout out to some of our ambassadors. They've been doing a great work, and I'd like to highlight some of them. So our first crew of ambassadors came in from Nigeria, actually. And it was nice to see, because when I got involved in blockchain last year, you know, I really thought that developing nations could benefit the most from this blockchain revolution. And it was nice to see Tojukaka, Emmanuel Babaloa, Samstix, and Grace Anajuba from Nigeria. They were the first ones to apply to the EOS Nation Ambassador Program. And they've actually been, they have established a strong Steemit community. And these people, like Tojukaka, for example, he makes his living by posting on Steemit. And I think that's just really amazing. And it shows the potential that really blockchain and EOS, you know, will have on these various communities. So these guys out there have been working really hard. They've been hosting meetups. They're running our Discord channel. They're working with local universities, trying to establish some EOS clubs, which is in line with our theme of wanting to be an educational hub and supporting educational products. You know, we have Adam Dorfman from Ukraine. He's working on his own project, which is called If and Then, which is a search engine and social network for the non-formal education ecosystem. So we're really happy to have him along. We've got Stuardo in Guatemala. He's a developer. He's been working with the local government on implementing some blockchain-friendly legislation. And, you know, Eve mentioned Heinz in China. He's been doing an amazing job for us. Give out a shout out to Thierry Studman in Genève, in Switzerland. Since he's joined the team, he's been hosting daily meetups and been very active in the French community, you know, spreading the education out there. So and I'm missing a couple more, but, you know, just
hey, Stefan, we had somebody in the chat ask about how does one become an ambassador?
Sure. So you can apply on our website, eosnation.io. And then you can click on one of the links on the front page there. It's going to say apply to ambassador. You know, send in the information, and then we'll review it. And then we'll go through a process, a couple of interviews, a couple of questions, etc.
Guys, we're dancing. We just got Jose from EOS Nation.
International Dance Party.
Some people really having fun. It was Jose. Jose was coming up
Yeah, man.
I think he always is.
And you know that I don't know if you can see it, but there's a volcano in the back. It's going on fire, man.
Oh, is that why
it's
you're
a real
dancing?
party?
What?
He's dancing next to a volcano.
Apocalypse celebration.
Oh my gosh.
The volcano's launching EOS? Is that what I hear?
Looks like it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
Jose.
Jose can't
The other
stop.
way.
It's
Okay,
end times.
this party has just been crashed. See you guys later.
Crashed by a volcano.
Oh my gosh. Well,
He came to do a dance and left. That's right.
Can we do?
He just came to show us his volcano crashing EOS party. Awesome. All right. Stay safe, guys. Stay safe.
Oh man. Well, yeah. So what's I guess we're going to be signing off here soon. Any final thoughts from you guys as to what are we looking forward to? Final thoughts about EOS.
I would like to share this painting I had made actually from a local artist.
We love the EOS Miso team loves sharing paintings as well. They have some great ones down there.
Whoa. Is that a moon?
Yeah. So it's a moon with an astronaut in it with the EOS Nation symbol and the EOS on the moon. I don't know. I love it. I can't really show it properly, but.
Oh, that was amazing. Hopefully the fan didn't hurt it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
That's beautiful. Jeez.
So I'll be on. I guess I want you guys to somehow. Maybe you don't need to commit, but it'd be great if you would consider extending to the 5th, coming on, and we'll give you some shout outs while we're in Chengdu. It'll be the official launch party in Chengdu. And hopefully we're going to have a lot of people there. Really excited about that. The Chinese communities is been really, really supportive of EOS. So we just really want to show it off.
How long
So
do you want
guys
us there for, Eve?
That'd be wonderful.
How long do you want us there for, Eve?
Like 15 minutes.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, no issues, man.
Like not much, just to say hi and just kind of to like you'll be live streaming throughout the world. We're gonna have a bunch of media there as well, so it's promotion for EOS, which is really, really great. And we're gonna be doing this in partnership with Meet One. So it's a group that we've been partnering with. One of the projects that's releasing either in the next like 30 minutes or so is the Pomelo voting app. So it's a voting and a wallet. And it's going to be open source. At first, it's going to be launched on Android, eventually on iOS. And it's a partnership between 5 different VP candidates. So we've got EOS Canon, EOS SG, Meet One, EOS Nation, and EOS Seoul. So it's going to be a wallet that's going to be translated in English, Chinese, and Korea right away. And it should be, I think, available in the next little bit, like tonight.
Very cool.
Very nice. That's a breaking news update right there. Boom. Oh yeah.
I haven't slept in and so if I look like an idiot, this is me being super high off of life.
Right.
He's dancing to the breaking news update, guys.
After I come back to Canada, I'm crashing for a while.
Well, I mean, hopefully things will have cooled off a little bit so you can too. Yeah.
It's like 36 degrees out here. It's ridiculous.
Really?
Anyways, yeah. Welcome to China. All right.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming on.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
We'll see you. See you in 2 days.
Yeah.
Blue Jays. Yeah. Final thoughts for the morning.
Yeah, it was a good morning. I believe we were streamed to China, so I'm not 100% on that, but that was cool. So hello everybody there.
Hi guys. And you know what? I think also WTZ has translators to translate our English over to Chinese. How do they translate this disco dancing, Blue Jays?
I don't know if it translates. They probably want to know. What are we doing?
What are we doing? What are those people doing? Turn it off. Turn it off. Yeah. One more, Blue Jays. Let's just do one just for us, right?
All right.
It's by ourselves. Just a cool chill. Yeah. Thank you guys for checking in with us. We will be back on in about, 7 hours. 7 hours from now, we'll be back. We'll be back on. Yeah,
this just opens up the floodgates for all sorts of ideas now, right?
What do you mean?
Of these videos.
Oh my gosh, man. Yeah. We're looking forward to all the memes and whatnot that come out of this. Hopefully someone makes a meme for each team that danced with us. That would be incredible. So EOS Price channel, if you're watching, can you please help us out? Because we don't have those skills. I don't personally, but so we're relying on you. Yeah.
All right, guys. Go EOS. We will see you again soon.
Go EOS. Thanks, guys.